What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast, or as I tried to say at the beginning of this, another Fanboys Anonymous podcast, or whatever the hell I say at the beginning of this, because that's what you do nowadays. You lose track of your sanity. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango. I don't know, maybe I'm not, but I've got with me my usual suspects. I've got Callum Wiggins.
Smark Moment's #1 fanboy.
And I've got Robert D. Felice.
I have an overall superstar score of 12.
That's what we're doing today. We're doing superstar scores. We had originally planned to do a bunch of things related to WrestleMania leading up to WrestleMania. Then who knows what's happening with WrestleMania. WrestleMania has gone from being at Raymond James Stadium. Oh, God. Raymond James Stadium. It's not the quarantine that's getting to me. It's the sleep and the stress and all that. So anybody's wondering if I'm cracking up from being quarantined. No, I'm still I stay in my house all the time. It's just whatever. Raymond James Stadium. WrestleMania was supposed to be there on April 5th. It's changed. It's at Performance Center on April 5th. Then it gets changed an hour later, and it's potentially a 2-night thing. And then it's a 2-night thing that's going to be in multiple locations. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be on Fox. Maybe it's going to be in March, and we're just going to go back in time. Who knows?
It could be on Mars. We don't know at this point.
That might be one of the locations. Dr. Manhattan's going to come in. He fucked up with the DC side of things. Let's get into the fanboys talk here. You know, we're all going to create the new 52. This is what this is doing. It's all Crisis on regular Earth. And we just need the Flash. That's all we need right now is we need the Flash. So Barry, Wally, Bart, any of you, even Jay, help us out here a little bit. You can help us out listening by continuing to listen and by dropping a comment below and tell us your thoughts on what's going on here. We've got lots of different ways for you to listen to the podcast, and a lot of them are audio only, like Stitcher and Spotify and iTunes and Google and TuneIn and Anchor and whatnot. But those things don't have the comment function. So hit that like button or that rating scale or anything that they have on those kind of things, because that helps out a lot. And hop on over to YouTube, because YouTube does have an option for you to be able to leave comments. While you're there, you should subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. Ring that little notification bell to be aware of the next things that we post, including live streams. Might be happening. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. And hit the like button on the video. You know, it helps out a little bit too. So I want to know what you have to say about these topics that we're going to do here, because we are going to do something we've never done before. And our original plan of all the WrestleMania stuff kind of went to hell. So that goes a lot of that stuff out the window. We're going to eventually do the Hall of Lame based off of the Hall of Famers. We were going to do Wrestling with the Past for the Hall of Fame, the 2020 Smark Moment Hall of Fame. We were going to get into the TakeOver predictions and the WrestleMania predictions and the post shows for both of those shows. That was going to be basically the layout. And then we were going to do a mailbag after that. And we were going to do the Smark Madness tournament, which, by the way, if you have not voted for the Smark Madness tournament round that's currently up, go ahead on the website, go to the tournament, and vote on round 3 to determine the best WWE superstar of the past decade. But yeah, with all this wrestling with the past and all that stuff that we were planning, we couldn't really do it. So kind of doing something on the fly here. Instead, we are doing something that has been on the back burner for a little bit. It is Superstar Scores. And it's not the way that we normally do it. Normally, Superstar Scores is a 10-section breakdown of one particular superstar, where we break them down in terms of athleticism, psychology, charisma, character, physique, entrance, backstage, public relations, popularity, and credibility. And I will explain those more in a moment or so. But we're not doing it based off of one person, because there is no one person to really focus on right now. Instead, since this is the 25th edition of this, we're going to go back and we're going to do a little bit of recalibrating. Now, I've done some of this in the past when we've done a few other ones. The most recent one we did was Edge. We did Matt Hardy before that. We did Paige, Goldberg, Alberto Del Rio, etc. So over the course of the past couple of years, I have gone in and I've changed my original one. So if you do check on previous podcasts that we've done, my scores already don't line up. but a lot of them are kind of the same. So a little bit of backstory about what this all means. The first Superstar Scores was Shawn Michaels, and it happened January 15th, 2013. This is a 7-year-old thing, which makes me feel really old. And since then, of course, doing more of these means that, you know, there's more comparison, and what used to be easy to give somebody an 8 might seem a little bit low or a little bit high now that I've done 23 other ones of them. So, you know, when I was judging Triple H, for instance, I only had the reference point of Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, Bob Holly, and Rob Van Dam. Now, when I go back and I look at Triple H's score, I might think that a 7 is a little low because I gave a 7 to somebody else, and I think that Triple H is higher. So that's something that needs to be worked in here. Another thing is, things change with the people themselves. Shawn Michaels came out of retirement and wrestled a match. Triple H has gone on to do different things with the backstage stuff. Rob Van Dam went to TNA or Impact or whatever the hell they want to call it today. And Roman Reigns even, we did one, that was the one time that we did one where it was somebody who was active on the roster, and that was February 2015. Well, clearly things have changed with Roman Reigns in the past 5 years. And we've gotten Daniel Bryan came out of retirement in the process of this. He was retired, and that's why we did that, and he came out of retirement. We've gotten Cody Rhodes has built an entire other company and been outside of that whole mix with AEW. Goldberg's came back and wrestled more. Matt Hardy came back from his supposed retirement and went on and moved to a different company. Edge came back from his retirement, which seemed like that was a guaranteed not to happen. So lots of things have changed on the backstage side of things, the in-ring side of things, and just in the comparison side of things too. So that's why we're going to be recalibrating things here. And we invite you to do the same as much as you can with your different scores from different people, and to tell us your thoughts on our scores and anything else like that. Now, I mean our scores because it's not just me. These guys have their scores for these people as well. Obviously, we can't go down every category for every person for all 3 of us. That would take forever. But what we can do is we can kind of pick apart some little elements back and forth. And I'm going to do this in a way that I think is probably the best way that we can do it. I don't know 100% for sure. So if I end up doing something that ends up being kind of a slog to get through, I apologize in advance. But the way that I think probably makes the most sense here is we do a general breakdown of what these categories are. Then we're going to go through and we're going to go one by one each individual superstar, give our total scores that we currently have. And then after we go through all of that, we're going to have a full list of all of our totals, and everybody will have a whole list of the totals. So we'll be able to look and say, hey, well, how come you gave this guy such a lower score than this person? And I think you should kind of evaluate what your points are for different things and stuff. Long time to get to the point where we were just explaining what Superstar Scores really is. So here is the explanation of how these scores go. I read off the list of the different things before, but there are umbrella categories, and in the in-ring skills, we have athleticism and psychology. Athleticism is their move set. What's their finisher like? Do they botch often? That kind of stuff. Psychology is their storytelling capacity in the ring. Do they sell their injuries? Do they make long matches interesting, or do they get boring very quickly? Then we have the mic skills, which are charisma and character. Charisma is their just general all-purpose microphone promo abilities. You know, do they stutter? Are they repetitive? Do they keep things fresh, etc.? Character is the gimmick side of things. You know, I mean, somebody like a Val Venus has a different type of character than somebody like Charlie Haas does. So kind of judge based off of that. Then we have appearance, which is physique, pretty self-explanatory. And entrance, which includes everything from their entrance, the music, the pyro, whatever actions they do, etc. We have behavior, which is backstage professionalism and public relations. So are they locker room leaders? Do they cause problems behind the scenes? Is it a whole bunch of politics with them? Do they screw people over? Do they put people over? Are they people who get arrested a whole bunch of times? Do they do charity work? All that stuff is all worked under behavior. And lastly, we have crowd reaction, which is popularity and credibility. So how loud are the cheers and the boos if they're a heel? Do they sell merchandise? Are the ratings up? Their Twitter followers? What's their credibility as far as, are they a main eventer, a Hall of Famer, or are they somebody who's just an enhancement talent? Because you get somebody who is really high up there, like like an Undertaker, they're going to be really high up. You get a Barry Horowitz, they're going to be very low. So that's out of the way. Thanks for listening to this episode, everybody. Feels like that, right? So let's start naming our totals. My current score for Shawn Michaels, after having done some adjustments over time, is an 85 out of 100, because we can go 0 to 10 on each particular thing. Callum, what do you have for Shawn Michaels?
Snap, I guess. 85.
Oh, wow. Rob, do you, Bryan, a chance to have 85?
I have an 86. So I gave him one more than you did for something.
Okay, well then now that brings up a very good curiosity that we'll eventually get around to, if that's the case. What's that 1 point difference? For Mick Foley, this seems very low to me offhand, but I have him at a 68.
Yeah, I have him at an 84.
I'm an 83.
So what the fuck is your problem?
We're gonna definitely have to adjust that. I'll tell you right off the bat, the two that are very low for me are athleticism and physique. So,
My physique's low for me, but like,
yeah, athleticism, it's low, but it's not like a 1.
Bob Holly, I have as one of the lowest scores that I have. I have him at a 51.
I've met a 49.
56.
So we're not too far off on that one. Triple H, I have. Oh wait, no, I'm skipping. Rob Van Dam, I have at a 50. I know you guys are going to be higher.
71.
76.
Triple H, I have an 84.
89.
88.
87. You sunk my battleship. Ultimate Warrior.
I can't believe it. Like I'm the one that's always burying Triple H the most, and I have the highest score for
Yeah,
him.
you do. By 5 points, according to me, and 1 point for Rob.
Yeah.
Warrior, I have a 71.
66.
75.
Santino Marella, I forgot we even did that, is a 61 for me.
67.
65.
Yes, if you're keeping track, I have got Santino Marella ahead of the Ultimate Warrior in the Superstar scores chart.
Well, I'm guessing that's because you just like backstage gave him a 0. Like,
it was close. Not nobody's a 0. Well, at least not yet.
I think that you guys are higher at every single person so far than I am. Yeah,
probably.
One of you two is higher than me at every point. Steve Blackman, I have it at 50.
I have 50 as well.
52.
Not going to be too much adjustment on that one. Roman Reigns, circa February 2015, which is very hard, of course, to judge that in retrospect. I had at a 70.
So I couldn't just judge him based on that one, so
Right.
I've calibrated for the more recent one, so I have him at an 80 now.
I'm at an 85.
Yeah, I'm probably going to adjust mine based off of that kind of thing. AJ Lee, I have at a 74.
72.
75.
Brock Lesnar, I have it at 73. I'm sure that that's going to be higher for you guys.
85.
80.
Rowdy Piper, legend, I have at a 70.
78.
Have him at an 80.
Chris Jericho is 84 for me.
88.
83.
Oh, you got 83.
88,
Yeah.
83.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got 75 for Daniel Bryan when he had retired, so that's another one that's going to have to change.
I have him at a 87.
85.
I have a measly score of 45, my lowest score for Buff Bagwell.
Why is he on this list? Who suggested that?
That was one of the most...
That was Titans pushing for years.
That was suggested for a long while. Superstar scores Buff Bagwell.
Yeah. He's my second lowest, 51.
I don't have him too low. I have him at a 58.
92. Shane McMahon. Okay, we bothered with Shane. Is it 62?
Yeah, well, you say we bothered with Shane as if he's lower than Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, but that's at least like funny, you know.
I think that was when Shane came back.
Must have been that, yeah.
Yeah. I've got him as a 68.
I got Shane at a 70.
So we're still keeping up this track record where there's not a single one that I am the highest on. Ryback, I've got a 70.
58.
65.
There you go. There's your one, Tony.
There. Yeah, I'm going to have to adjust Ryback on that one, too. Cody Rhodes, I have it as 70. Yeah, Cody Rhodes should not be the same score as Ryback.
83 for me.
85 for me.
Yeah, Cody's going up and Ryback's going down. Shelton Benjamin, I have a 67.
64.
70. I think I'm a bit of a homer for Shelton.
I'm more of a...
Oh.
Maybe a Lenny.
Not Lenny.
Actually, leave a comment below. What Simpsons character are we?
What are you doing, man? That's Carl.
We've established that Rob is 100% Rex from Toy Story.
What is that?
So now we need to figure out Simpsons characters. And if anybody says I'm Hans Moleman, then
Football in the groin.
Yeah. One of my favorite sound effects, that little kind of. Del Rio, I gave a 59.
60.
68.
Goldberg is a 73.
80.
75.
Paige is a 62.
67.
65.
Might want to bump those up a couple numbers. Matt Hardy is a 64.
70.
73.
It's funny. There's so many people on this that before you guys are saying it, I'm trying to guess your numbers in my head, and I'm like almost dead on every single time. Not like specifically like a 67 or whatever like that, but I'm like, all right, Matt Hardy's going to be in the 70 range for Callum, and he's going to be higher for Rob, and like that kind of thing. And it's like certain people, I'm like, Callum's going to be higher on this one than Rob is, like that, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Some of our favorites.
Yeah.
Finally, Edge, our most recent one that we did pretty recently, so we're probably not going to adjust that all that much, but we might. I have down as an 80.
84.
87.
So the only one of these that I am higher at is Ryback.
and that won't be there for long.
Yeah, that probably won't.
Wait, when did you do the Ryback one for context?
It must have been when he just left, right?
It had to have been around that time. So let me double check to see, because
after Shane came back, was it before WrestleMania 30? Was it 2? It's 32, right?
Yes, we did Shane March 2nd, 2016. Apparently we did that right after Buff Bagwell. We did Buff Bagwell on the day beforehand. So
I think that was because like you must have decided to do 2 that week and decided to get the joke one out of the way finally.
It had to have been that. It had to have been like to compensate for Buff Bagwell. So we did Buff on March 1st, Shane on March 2nd, and Ryback on May 4th of 2016. And then Cody on May 31st. Wow, we did a lot in 2016 with these.
I mean, Ryback was just immediately after he'd left because he resigned after Backlash, wasn't it? Or whatever the show, Payback, or whatever the show was after, because he did the whole the pre-show stopper with the belt and all that other stuff. I think he had that match with the United States Championship against Kalisto, and then just left.
So we did 8 Superstar scores in 2016. Not a single one of them in 2017. 2 in 2018. Not a single one in 2019, and one of them so far, other than this one in 2020. That's there's gaps there. That's kind of strange. Yeah. So, where do we want to start? Do we start at Shawn, or do we start at some other big outliers?
Well, I have Shawn at 1 point higher than you guys, so I'm just a little curious. What'd you give him for popularity?
9.
I give him a 10. Okay, that's what it is.
You know what? Just out of curiosity, because we could have different numbers for different things. I went through, and stop me if you did anything different or anything weird, because you might have given him like a, I don't know, 7 on one thing and a 9 on one of the other things or something. I went through 10, 10, 9, 8, 8, 9, 6. That's my lowest is Backstage. 7 for public relations, 9 credibility, 9 popularity, and 9 credibility. Any like weirder kind of things that you guys had?
It's all fairly similar. I mean, the lowest that I gave him was the same. It's Backstage, and it's a 6.
Yeah.
I gave him a 10 for his entrance instead of a 9, but I dropped down on athleticism rather than psychology. So I gave him a 9 for athleticism rather than a 10.
I gave him a 7 on physique. Shawn always had a decent physique, but I never felt like, oh man, he's the epitome of what a guy should look like.
I gave him the 8 just because I feel like for a while he was like the heartthrob, the heartbreak kid, that sort of thing. So for a long time his gimmick was based around the fact that he's so good looking. So obviously that deteriorated as he got older. When you started to realise, well, one of his eyes don't work properly, and he's definitely going bald, yet still has longer hair than most people.
The stutter.
I can't remember.
Because that to me was a big sign of wow, what happened to Shawn Michaels?
So we might end up adjusting these, even though we all are on kind of the same page. We might end up going through and being like, you know what? It doesn't make sense for this person to be that much higher than Shawn or that much lower than Shawn or something too. So we might go back to Shawn. But at least we're on similar scales when it comes to that.
Yeah, he's one of the best of all time. And I think an 85 or 86 kind of matches where his kind of level.
My highest score, I think, is Shawn. Let me double check here, because I got Triple H at 84, so that's 1 point lower. I got Chris Jericho at 84, which is 1 point lower. Yeah, so my highest is Shawn. Callum, your highest looks like it's Triple H.
Triple H, yeah.
And Rob, it looks like yours might be Edge. No,
mine
Triple H, I think.
No, I have Triple H.
Yeah, Triple H is 88.
Well, my highest, I believe, is Jericho at an 88. No, he's tied with Triple H at an 88.
Yeah, okay. Wait, you have Jericho's at... Yeah, I have a... Did I split those up? Wrong thing? Callum, are you an 88 or an 83 for Jericho?
You guys still hear me?
I'm at a... need to check now. No, I'm at an 88 for Jericho.
Oh, so you're both 88 for Jericho?
Yeah, I'm 88 for Jericho.
I have you down for 83 for some reason.
That's the misheard. Yeah. It's fine. We have time. We have time to iron out any of those kinks.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
yeah.
So but Triple H is my highest.
So that's not too. Hold on.
Your Triple H is your highest. Do you know who you are?
I can be objective.
Oh, I guess you can, because I would have never guessed that.
listen, like, I know full well how he got to being an 89, and I don't like how he got to being an 89, but in my mind, he's an 89.
So that means that we all are in agreement too that the highest ones that we have around here are Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Jericho, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. The next highest up kind of person that we don't have any kind of real correlation to that I'm going to have to adjust is, it looks like Cody. Because Callum's got him at an 83, Rob's got him at an 85, and I've got him at a 70. Now, that might be because you guys were doing your scores now, and I did that back in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's different, yeah.
So
it's definitely, ours is definitely taking into account the AEW stuff now.
So this is what I've got. So maybe you guys can fill me in on what you think that I should be changing. I had, at that point, I gave him a 7 for athleticism.
I still have him as a 7 for athleticism. I don't think he's got a particularly diverse moveset.
I also have him at a 7 for athleticism.
This is working a lot easier. So I have a 7 for psychology. That I have to bump up.
It's a 9 for me.
I have him at a 9, yeah.
Because his work in AEW alone, he's been very much the storyteller.
His entire work is based around his psychology because he doesn't have the same sort of athletic capacity that someone like a Kenny Omega has or the Young Bucks, but he makes up for it by structuring his matches really well.
So I'm at the very least going to bump him up to an 8. I might bump him up to a 9. I have a 6 for charisma. I think I have to bump that up.
He's a 9. He's a 9 for charisma.
I also have him at a 9 for charisma. What the fuck, dude?
Well, this was
2016
WWE. Yeah.
This might even be pre-Stardust. I don't remember when Stardust was.
No, because it wasn't. Because you did the Roman Reigns one after his Royal Rumble win, I believe.
That's right. And the Stardust thing was...
and Stardust was in that Royal Rumble, so...
Yeah, so
this is post Cody leaving the company.
This is when he stopped being Stardust because they didn't have anything for him to really do, so then it was just like, I guess I'm going to go fuck off because I've been doing nothing for a while. Yeah, so he wasn't charismatic back then. For now, I'm going to bump him up to an 8. I almost just exited out of my stuff a little bit more. And I almost gave him an I instead of an 8.
The eyes have it.
Fanboys Anonymous, everybody. Go to fanboysanonymous.com. Check out the geek culture stuff. Check out all that stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Check out my sanity and everything else. Character, I have 8. I don't think I'm going to bump that up, though.
I mean, I have him at a 9, but an 8's fine for that.
I also have him at an 8.
I have him at a 6 for physique. I got to bump that up.
Fuck?
Incredible physique.
He's gotten a lot better.
He's at least an 8, I'd say. I have him at a 9, but he's at least
I got him at an 8.
So I'm looking at my other physique ones here. My other 8s are Michaels, Bob Holly.
You Bob Holly an 8.
Bob Holly had a good look to him.
He has a really good body. He has a pretty good body, especially at his peak.
The ones that I had either 8 or higher, I had Triple H at 9, Warrior at 10. I had an 8 for Roman back in 2015. I had an 8 for AJ Lee. AJ Lee, obviously, and Paige are on a different type of scale because we're judging things differently. But Brock, I had a 10. Piper, I had a 6. Jericho, I had at 7. Jericho's gone down with that. Buff Bagwell, I had it an 8. I don't know if I could...
I think Buff's fine. That's the highest score that I have for him is physique. So
yeah, I kind of feel like I need to bump Bagwell up to a 9 on that. Even
I have Buff at a 10 because I thought, like, by God, it's your best quality. Let's appreciate you.
Let me Google Buff Bagwell real quick because he probably should be a 9 or a 10 to me. Holy crap, I'm looking at this really old footage of this. Like, let me show you this picture. I'll send this to you guys. Let's make you laugh. I've never seen Buff Bagwell look like this before.
Is he clean shaven? Just like, he's just Mark. Yeah,
what the hell?
Yeah. Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
That's strange. So Buff's got... He's got big pecs. He's got big arms.
He's got the stuff.
Yeah, you know what? I think I got to bump him up. So if that's the case, then that kind of furthers the gap between Cody, which means I can bump up Cody for that too. I'm going to go ahead and just do that, even though we'll probably revisit Buff Bagwell a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to bump you up to a 9, if not a 10. We'll come back around to buffing a little bit, see what stuff ends up being in that case. So I had Cody at a 6 before. I'm going to bump him up to... at the very least, I'll bump him up to a 7 right now. I'll probably bump him up to an 8. My entrance I had for him was a 7. Now he's gotten to a point where he's got a different song. He's got that. So I'm going to go at the very least an 8 on that.
Yeah.
I have him at an 8 as well.
Yeah, okay.
I got 9 for Backstage.
I still have him at 9 for Backstage.
I only had him at an 8, but I don't know. It's because I find Backstage the hardest one to determine. Unless there's some really like clear and obvious stories about people, it's hard to really kind of judge it.
I usually tend to go more on the positive. And there's a lot of people, I think my like average score, why didn't I bother doing that? I'm going to set myself a little, what do they call it? A little formula here on Excel to try to figure out my average scores going on, because I'm curious now. So my average score for Backstage is 6.25. So above average. And Cody's got a 9, which is really high up. He's got one of the highest scores for that. The only people that nobody has a 10 for me on Backstage, but I do have Foley as a 9. Foley probably should be a 10.
I have 3 at a 9 for that Backstage. I have Foley, Roman, and Daniel Bryan.
I've got Foley, Bryan, and Shane at 9.
I only put Shane at an 8 because he has some family issues. So
I have Shane for Backstage. I'm at a 6. I don't know. I feel like he's a McMahon. He's probably got some shit, I
think at the time, if I remember correctly, people were bringing up the idea that there really wasn't shit, and that he's really well liked backstage. And
yeah, he was.
Oh, that's right. He's like the cool, like the rich white dude.
The locker room tends to respect him a whole lot, like that kind of thing.
I'm on about 7.
Man, this is the best episode for people that are like statisticians and love like numbers and stuff. I'm sure some people are sitting there going, "My guy, why aren't you bitching about something or whatever?" Well, sometimes.
Or if you have like severe ADD, because we're just jumping.
Yeah.
We're just having fun.
So I'm not gonna bump Cody's Backstage to a 10. I think that 9's good, but he's only doing better things now, it seems. I have him at an 8 for public relations.
I also have him at that as well, which is weird because like he's probably would have gone better since you seen it, because he's now just like the AEW front man.
Yeah, so maybe it's because I do a lot of work in regards to this, but I have him at a 10. Like, he's the most open book. He's very, very big on public relations, and I think it shows.
Just recently, yesterday, he sent out a tweet with his phone number saying, like, hey, if anybody's, like, bored and wants to text me or something, like...
I kind of feel I have to bump that up now. I'm going to bump that up to a 9 as well.
Yeah, I might bump him up to a 9 on that. Yeah, you know what, I am. There you go. So I have a 6 for both popularity and credibility, so that obviously has to go up, because that's
I've gone 8 for both on that one.
That's gone massively up.
I've got him at a 9 for popularity and an 8 for credibility.
I wonder at 8 because I just didn't feel like he's in the same ballpark some of the other people that I have at a 9, or he hasn't been there for as long at that sort of level yet.
Yeah, I can't give him a 9 because my 9s are people like Triple H and
Edge. I have him as a 9 and stuff like that.
Like Goldberg's got a 10 for credibility. I can't give him a 9 and say he's only one spot lower than Goldberg,
Yeah, I don't actually have like anyone as a 10 for popularity, because I'm saving the 10 for popularities because we haven't done one on The Rock or Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're kind of at a different level.
I have only one 10 for athleticism, and that's Shawn. I only have 110, or no, wait, 2 10s for psychology, and that's Shawn and Jericho, which I'm probably gonna have to bump up Triple H on that. I don't have a single 10 for charisma. The only 10 I have for character is Foley.
Mm-hmm.
The 10s that I actually have 4 10s for physique. I have Ultimate Warrior, Brock Lesnar, Ryback, which that's going to need to go down, probably, and Goldberg. Actually, you know what? Ryback might not go down on that.
I also have Ryback as at a 10 for physique.
For entrance, the 10s that I have are Jericho and Goldberg. I don't have any 10s for backstage, no 10s for public relations, no 10s for popularity, and the only 10s that I have for credibility are Triple H, Lesnar, and Goldberg.
I have 110 for backstage and public relations, and it's the same guy. It's Daniel Bryan.
I'm clearly a lot more generous with the 10s than Tony is. That's probably why my scores are so much bigger. So I have 110 for athleticism, and it's not Michaels, it's Daniel Bryan. I have 4 10s for psychology. There's Michaels, Foley, Piper, and Jericho.
Yeah, all of them have an 8 or a 9 or a 10 for me.
Yeah, I have 2 for charisma. It's Piper and Jericho. I have 3 for character, so Foley, Lesnar, and Jericho.
Lesnar's not getting a 10 for me on that.
No, because I know I usually do it based on like showing a range and diversity of character, but I put Brock Lesnar at 10 because he's the perfect Brock Lesnar. It's like that's his character and it's perfect, so why change it? It's like physique. I only have 3 10s for physique. It's Triple H, Lesnar, and Goldberg. Entrance.
I feel like I have a lot of 10s for physique.
Yeah,
I have Roman at a 10 for physique.
Well, I can't tell because he's covered in that flat jacket.
But I've seen him without the vest, and it's a good physique, so I got him at a 10.
But the entrance, I have only 3 10s, and that's Michaels, Triple H, and Goldberg. No 10 for backstage. Public relations, I have Mick Foley and Roman Reigns at 10s. Popularity, I've got nobody at 10. Credibility, I have Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Chris Jericho, Goldberg, and Edge. So quite a few for credibility. That's probably why it's skewing so much.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to be more favourable to people.
With the points that I had adjusted for Cody, that bumps him up from a 70 to an 80 for me.
Yeah, that's
so that's closer to you guys. It's still lower because you guys have an 83 and an 85, but it is a little weird for me thinking that Cody is an 80 and Michaels is an 85, and I'm like, really, only 5 points difference? But then I'm like, well, Michaels took a big hit with backstage and public relations.
Yeah, I mean, it's different because we're doing this based on a superstar scores scale, as opposed to say it's not like it's based on either our favourites of all time or even really who's the greatest wrestler of all time. We've done it based on this criteria.
Right.
And it's typically the backstage and public relations are the things that people take the biggest hits on.
Yeah.
Because wrestling is a scummy organisation where people do get that sort of stuff happening to them. But I feel like, it's not really like a huge reflection on people being significantly better or worse. I mean, I have Cody at an 84 now with a few adjustments, and Shawn Michaels on an 85. I still think Michaels is the more legendary of the two performers, but I'm not going to change my scores because I feel like they're accurate, at least based on my opinion.
And they're accurate based on their time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I gave him a 70 back in 2016, so those 4 years he upgraded a lot.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, like, I have, in terms of, like Michaels isn't, I don't say he isn't close to the top, but, like, he's fifth of the way down for me. Like, he's on the same score for me as Brock Lesnar. I have Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, and Triple H all ahead of him. And I'm not the Shawn Michaels mark that you guys are. I think he's great, but
yeah,
he's definitely not my favorite of all time, like he is for Tony at the very least.
So I mean, you guys can see it because you can see my spreadsheet. I had already done a while ago. I did my own scores for Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Steve Austin, and The Rock, just because one random day I was just kind of like, all right, well, if I got to figure out these, like, some people that are going to be 10s and different things and stuff. So there's 10s all over the place with those. And I'm not going to say what those numbers are, but I will say that the lowest out of those was currently an 81. And the highest that anybody had gotten in anything was a 91, which to me is like, woo, wow. Because my current highest is still Shawn Michaels at 84, which might change, but 85. So one of those 5 names has 6 points more than Shawn Michaels right now for me. We're all on the same page for Bob Holly, essentially. I gave him a lot of 5s.
I'll tell you my strategy right now. 5s across the board until you get to backstage public relations, which I gave him a 2 for backstage, and because he's never like defaced the company, I gave him a 7 because everybody loves Bob. He's a good employee, but 5s across the board as far as a wrestler is concerned in my book.
See, I don't know enough about Bob Holly to have given him like a 2 for backstage. So I don't know how
he was a
bad
dick. Think JBL, but more Alabama. Like,
yeah, but is that? I mean, it's hard because that would be a case of like him upsetting the boys backstage is kind of the mindset I take about it. Whereas probably I assume that made him fit right in with the people by being an absolute dick to the young guys coming up and stuff like that. I mean, I know he was that Royal Rumble where he basically just beat Daniel Puder to a pulp.
Yeah.
That was like
he did us a favor that day, though.
Yeah.
Did he ever get arrested? Do you know?
I can't remember him getting arrested. Maybe he has been.
Who?
Most wrestlers have been. Bob
Holly? No.
Yeah, for racing his car around, wasn't it?
So I'm actually going to adjust him on something here. I'm going to bump him up to a 5 on public relations. I had him at a 4.
No, I have him at a 4, but I feel like it's fairly accurate because it's the idea of like, yeah, he hasn't done anything significantly bad, but who would put Bob Holly forward as a public relations guy?
Yeah.
Jim Cornette.
Well, you know what, though? Back in the day, Spark Plug Bob Holly, he could have been like one of those, I'm in Access and I'm just my voice cracking. I'm in Access. And...
So the serious question. I went back and looked at a lot of new generation stuff. Why was it very country based? Like it was very much something that could have fit right in with like,
Mid-South.
Toby Keith and Garth Brooks and that kind of thing.
They did have a lot of country-esque gimmicks. It's like, I'm an alligator wrestler, and I'm a NASCAR driver, and I'm a hog farmer, and
yeah, it was very rednecky. What was that?
It's a very New York way of trying to break into the southern market.
Yeah, and then you look at like one of their other characters, the Blue Blood, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. It's like, aha, he's not like that. He's a dick, like that kind of thing. I don't know if I should bump up Holly on anything else. Right now, I bumped him up 1 point, so he's at a 52. But I kind of feel like maybe I'm not giving him as much credit as I should when it comes to athleticism. Maybe I should give him a 6 for that instead.
Well, I gave him a 7 for athleticism. I thought he was he's pretty good as good hand in the ring. I think he's better than average. Like his drop kicks were some of the best drop kicks I've ever seen.
Yeah, I liked that.
Dolph Ziggler has a good drop kick. I don't hear you singing his praises.
Oh, he didn't do a Super Source.
I mean, let's put it this way: if Dolph Ziggler was in here, I would try my very best to give him a 0 and everything. But I would end up probably giving him a 9 for athleticism. So he's definitely not in Dolph Ziggler's league in that regard. But I feel like he was a good hand.
So what different things? Because you currently, Callum, have the highest score for
a lot of people.
Bob Holly. I was going to call him Bob Backlund. What are we disagreeing on here, comparing your list to mine?
So comparing it so I have 1 more in terms of athleticism. I have 2 more in terms of psychology. So you have him at a 5. I have him at a 7. We've got the same charisma, 5 and 5. This is pretty bang average.
Yeah, Bob,
Uh,
I'm not going to hear too much of an argument of Bob Holly being like some 7 on charisma. He's pretty much, I got an idea. Give me the belt. I'll beat everyone. I'll fuck them up.
we both have him the same as character as well, so it's interesting. You have him better on physique than I have. I only have him at a 7. You have him at an 8. Entrance, I have him at a 4. You have him at a 5. Because I don't know what it is. Well, he doesn't have an entrance really, does it? It's just his music plays and he comes out. That's kind of, or at least that's the hardcore Holly that I know of. That's the one that I
start your
grew up
engines.
with.
Is what you do, Callum.
Yeah. Backstage, you have him at a
2, I think.
A 2, a 2, and I have no reason to drop him to that, so I have him at a 5. So because I don't know, I just put him as an average because I didn't really know any good or bad stories about him. I have him at 4 for public relations. Well, you have him at 5. I have him at a 5 for popularity because I don't think he really amounted to much. And you have him at a 5 credibility. I have him as a 6 because he's a multiple-time hardcore champion and tag team champion. So I thought 6. I think he's better than average because I feel like an average is like some sort of guy who's maybe had like 1 or 2 title runs, but he was pretty much a fixture of the tag team scene for a while and definitely the hardcore scene. And also he looks like a guy that could beat you up. So that kind of just lends a little bit more to the credibility for me.
I mean, but like,
he had a match with Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship.
And Brock fucking dropped him on his head. Again. Yeah. Like, he wasn't very credible. I give him a 5 because I feel like Bob was there to be average. And he's average across the board. 5s we go. Because, okay, he's a multi-time hardcore champion, but so was, Mae Young. I'm not sure. But you know what I mean.
I might push him down a little bit. I might drop him down to a 5 for credibility. But
what's your favorite Bob Holly match? Can anybody, like, off top of your head, what's your favorite Bob Holly match?
Every instance of the Royal Rumble where he runs in and attacks Shawn Michaels.
I like some. I can't like name super specific ones off the top of my head, but I like the what's that the WrestleMania 16 hardcore battle royal thing.
Right.
That was great, and to be fair, Hardcore Holly only was involved really at the end of that, but still.
I'm going to lower him on Physique to a 7 because I'm looking at the pictures now, and I'm even looking at the pictures of him next to pictures of Cody, and who I just bumped up to an 8, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Bob Holly doesn't have as good. I mean, he does in some ways, he doesn't in some ways, but if at the very least, if I've got Cody at an 8, or I've got Cody at a 7, then Bob Holly shouldn't be an 8.
I've dropped Holly's athleticism because Rob's right. I can't name a great Hardcore Holly match off the top of my head, but I still think he's above average. Like he's not a bad wrestler by any stretch of the imagination, and I kind of feel like from the drop point from 5, you're starting to go, okay, this guy's not particularly good in the ring. Like I'd probably put someone like a Mabel at a 3 or something.
We always get our
Mabel
in there.
Yeah.
Good old Mabel.
Superstar Scores Mabel coming soon. Again, I got a lot of 5s around this for Holly, and the only thing I'm thinking of adjusting at this point is maybe bumping him up from a 2 to a 3 on Backstage, because I'm like, well, a 2 is really low. Like, yeah, he was picking on people and all that, but was it that bad? Like, 1 extra point, it might be worth it, because, I mean, 3 is still low as all hell. It's, 2 points less than average.
Well, I almost feel like I felt like he's too respected. He was too respected in the locker room. He was a veteran. He was there for such a long time. I know he was an arsehole, but everyone, to a certain degree, was an arsehole. JBL was an arsehole. People like Benoit and Guerrero were arseholes to new people coming through. It's
I guess just that's thing. A good question is, where would JBL fall in Backstage?
See, I would put him high for Backstage because he was like well respected by that regards, even though he was a dick, and he eventually got called out on it. So I would drop him down a bit for the Joey Styles incident and the Mauro Ranallo stuff and things like that. But he probably would. So he'd probably sit at like a 4 or 5 for me.
Huh.
Probably 5.
I'm gonna bump him up 1 at the very least to 3. So
I mean,
he's gotten 2 extra points out of me so far.
In terms of comparison, like I have the 2 people that I have at the lowest for Backstage both have 2s. And that's Ultimate Warrior and Buff Bagwell.
The two lowest that I have that have twos are Buff Bagwell and Alberto Del Rio.
Huh? What did
Have you, Rob? Have you given a score of 1 to anybody?
have I given a score of 1 to anybody? No.
Okay, because I just want to double check that because like it's been like the non-running.
Oh,
on-running
I take
thing
that.
with
I take that
superstars.
back. Actually,
Oh.
I gave somebody a 1 for their entrance, and it was Santino.
Santino's entrance I have at...
He doesn't do anything. What's he do?
I have
He
it at
plays the
5.
trombone. He plays the air trombone.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
and he does the
Okay.
power walk.
All
Yeah,
right,
and that music is great as well.
I'm gonna bump him up to a 5.
La Vittoria
had him
Mia.
I think I was just going. What does he do? He doesn't do anything. I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, I've had him at a 6 for that, so I was a bit confused about that one. But just because it's been an on-running thing with the superstar scores is that we haven't reached a point where we've given someone a 1 or a 0 yet. And we've always said if we ever did the superstar scores, Chris Benoit, he'd probably be the first one to go into negative numbers for public relations. So,
Do I not have a 1?
do you not have one? I don't feel like you have.
No, I'm not
can't see
seeing.
any on
I'm
you.
not seeing
When are we
one.
doing superstar scores, Benoit, by the way?
When every other superstar's been done.
Depending on how this whole quarantine thing goes down, it might be fucking 2 months from now.
That documentary comes out next week.
Yeah, I don't have a single person with a 1. 2 is the lowest score that I have across the board
Yeah,
for different
same.
I'm
things.
gonna give Warrior for backstage. Okay, I give him a.
Part of me wanted. I mean, I gave him a 2 because I feel like there are people that have done worse than him.
But he's just a piece of shit. Sorry.
Yeah,
But he's just a piece of shit.
Well, no, this is the funny thing with the Ultimate Warrior. Just to discuss him too, if he was still alive, for me, his public relations would be like a 2 or a 3 as well. But I have it as 5 public relations because since he's died, he's become more of like a beloved figure of professional wrestling because of the Warrior Award and stuff like that. Has his name associated with it. So in death, his public relations has gone up through the roof.
Well, let's dive into Warrior a little bit because I've got him at a 71. Callum's got him at a 66, and Rob's got him at a 75. I think that some things we are probably on the same page for. He's high up on physique.
Yes. I only have him as a 9 for physique, just because of some of the things that it was basically for the bodysuit thing that he was wearing towards the end of his run with WWE.
I got him at a 10 for physique. I tend to go with physique more on kind of the average, but skewing towards their best kind of a thing. Like that's why fair. Michaels is an 8 instead of being like Michaels now or something like that. I gave him high scores I gave him a 9 for charisma.
So I gave Warrior a 10 for charisma. He's all fucking charisma.
Yeah, but see, I gave him okay, so I gave him charisma is 9. I gave him 7 for character because I'm still like, I don't know what the fuck his character is.
Well, I've given him like a 7 for charisma, and I pushed that up because just due to the fact that he's got so much energy and he's big like personality, but you can't understand the fuck what he's saying, so he's not a good promo. I would never call Ultimate Warrior a good promo.
I would argue that he's one of those rare exceptions where it adds to it.
I completely agree with it, but I can't in good conscience, like if he didn't have that like actual energy and just aura surrounding him, he'd be like a 2 for charisma because he can't cut promos. But so I could only I could only go for a 7. I wouldn't push him up any further than that, at least in my view. That's probably why he's significant. I mean, there's probably a lot of things that are pushing him significantly lower for me than you guys.
I've got him for 8s for popularity and credibility.
Yeah, I have that same as well.
Because I mean, he beat Hogan straight up.
Yeah, he's WWE champion for nearly a year.
He only lost the title because of interference and through breaking a scepter over him. So that's like, I mean, that's as good as you can pretty much get. You beat the top guy in the history of the company, hold the title for a year, lose it through nefarious means, and have another highlighting match at the WrestleMania that follows and stuff like that. So credibility's up there. Popularity, I mean, he was popular as all hell. So,
I got him at a 9 for popularity, 8 for credibility, because he was People forget about it now, but he was like one of the most popular superstars of all time at a point.
Yeah, but the reason why I cut it down is because that point was really short. It's like, yeah, maybe it is at his peak, he was like at a 9 and 10, but in the grand scheme of things, people don't really revere the Ultimate Warrior in the same way they would do for a lot of guys on this list.
So the
That's
real
at least
only
my perspective.
the downsides to him are athleticism, psychology, backstage, and public relations. And I've got
Yeah,
him at a 4, a 5, a 5, and a 7.
You see, I almost like I just gave it, oversold him a little bit because I gave him a 5 for athleticism and a 6 for psychology, and I'm almost feeling like, wow, that is way too high. But even with that, I have him at like a lower score because backstage have him at a 2, public relations at a 5. It's like I really should drop it.
What backstage stuff that he did that
Well,
he feels warrant of a 2?
I mean, the most infamous story is when he held up Vince McMahon for money. So that's the SummerSlam story of 91, I assume. Yeah, it's 91, isn't it? Because that's the when it's supposed to be Hogan and Warrior against Sergeant Slaughter and just all the other like the Iron Sheik and Colonel Mustafa and General Adnan, sorry. And so he holds up Vince McMahon backstage saying, "I'll only do this match that you booked if you give me," I can't remember the exact amount, but it was like X amount of $100,000 or something like that. And Vince said, "Okay," we gave him the money, so he'd go out there, he did the match, and then we immediately fired him as soon as he came back through the curtain.
And then immediately hired him 6 months later to be the top dog again as soon as Hogan left.
And he was, I also go with the backstage thing because he was despised by a lot of people. Like Andre Giant hated him, Bobby Heenan hated him, Triple H hated him until he realised that he could bring him back and try and build some bridges when he was in a more position of power. Like Triple H gave an interview, I think in like the late 90s when he was in a top position and Warrior was nobody anymore. He just talks about the fact that he cared about nobody and he would just walk around with a.
Well, let's not forget WWE released a DVD shitting.
Yeah.
On this man.
Yeah, so he wasn't a well-liked person. His public relations, for me, like it would be close to a 2 or a 1 without the World Warrior Award, because this is a guy that's gone out in speeches slating like gay people, calling it a disease.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it goes away.
Yeah.
See, when they die, it goes away somehow.
Oh, I forgot. But I can't give him a 7 for that. Shit. All right. Well, I already bumped him down 1 point for backstage.
Tony, remember, queering does not make the world work.
I gotta at least bump him down 2 points if that's the case for that. So he's going down with that.
Wow, that's such a shitty thing to say.
So he's already gone down to a 68.
He's got an award now, so like it's all good.
Yeah, but I don't like that award to begin with. So.
In fairness, though, he only wanted to give it to like the Ring Crew and like Jim Johns did, and Vince was like, "I smell charity opportunity."
Yeah, I smell a PR opportunity, so let's change it to that.
More likely
I mean, I don't like that either, but I almost feel like it's a good thing that they didn't give the Ultimate Warrior what he wants. It's so because fuck him, really. But
yeah, so he just went down for me. Let's see if we have any other we're all kind of on the same page with Steve Blackman. I have him at 50. Kalamaz's got a 50. Rob's got a 52. What 2 extra points did you give him in?
Well,
what was your best for him?
What was my best for Blackman?
Yeah.
You're gonna laugh. It's credibility. I give him an 8.
I mean, he was presented as a fairly credible threat. I mean, I have him as a 5 because I just don't think he had enough titles.
Yeah,
like he only ever really won the Hulk title.
Yeah, you have double the score I have for Steve Blackman for credibility. I liked Blackman. Like, this isn't me crapping on him or anything. Like, I think he was cool.
Like, I think Blackman's a meme. He's a meme of a character because he's just someone who people just think about when they just think of the Attitude Era, but he didn't actually do anything.
I kind of think of Blackman. I even thought this back in the time that he was a thing. So it's not even like me just kind of going back in the benefit of hindsight. It's not wrestling is 2020. Even back then, I was like, oh, Steve Blackman is very average. Like, he is a creator wrestler. kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's got a good look
Yeah,
to
but
him.
he can kick your ass though.
He totally could in real life, but like in credibility wise, in the ring, he never won the Intercontinental title. Was he a tag team champion?
No.
I didn't think
The
that
only
he was.
title we ever won was the Hardcore Championship.
Yeah, and that's like the gimmicky title that they gave to Pete Gas and stuff too. So
admittedly, he's one of the best Hardcore champions of all time.
He should have
because
been
he
a
actually was
staple
given
of
a run
that.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So credibility, I mean, he's average at best for the most part to me. I mean, I think the highest you can really go with Blackman for credibility is a 6.
I think Blackman could take Brock Lesnar in a fight. Maybe not.
That's true, but then I've also seen him like lose matches to Al Snow, so I can't really take him super seriously. Like the head cheese stuff definitely dropped his credibility quite considerably.
That's fair. But he also got to be in a program with Shane and got to throw him off the SummerSlam staging.
Yeah, but that's for me. That says more about Shane than it does about Blackman.
My lowest scores for Blackman are a 3 and a 4 for charisma and character.
I have like a 3 for charisma as well, but I have 4s for his psychology, his character, and his popularity.
I only have a 5.
But this
for
might be
psychology.
another case of you not remembering anything. But I have him at a 2 for his entrance. What did
I
you
probably
think?
should have given. I like the music. That's the reason why I gave
The music is dope though.
I'm thinking about bumping him up to a 5 instead of a 4 for entrance because he did do the little martial art thing.
Yeah,
but he stopped that very quickly.
I do like the drums in the night. That that's fun.
Yeah, I just feel like it was an average entrance. There's nothing super spectacular about it, but it's not a bad entrance.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump
him
like
up. I imagine like a 4 would be someone who would have like a pretty like an entrance where it just like for the most part had been just like pretty ropey. I'm trying to think of someone off the top of my head that would be like a blow average, like a Pete Gas or something like that. Which is just like the Dimitri Posse music and him just walking out.
I think you're onto something when you had said before that the absolute hardest things to go with are backstage and public relations because it is really difficult to figure out. Like, how do you judge?
We're not there, are we? So we can't tell. We can only go based on like rumors and like what people say in shoot interviews and stuff like that.
So like, I currently have him at a 5 for public relations, but it's like he didn't do anything wrong. So I can't give him the same as Ultimate Warrior for public relations. I got to give him a higher thing for that. But then again, it's like, what the fuck did Blackman do? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I kind of judged it on a mixture of like, if they didn't do anything wrong, then you can't penalize them heavily. But then again, if they're never going to be really positioned as someone who the company would use to like as a public relations guy, then you can't really push them up either. So I put him at a 5 because I thought, okay, he's just a guy that's there.
I'm gonna give him one more point to a 6 just because he's there, but he didn't do anything wrong, and that gets him 1 point closer to being Bob Holly. Because Bob Holly, I got a 53 right now. I've got Blackman at a 52. I think that they're about on par with each other.
I feel Bob Holly is much more. I don't say much more, but he's like. I think he's a little step above Blackman. Like he has longevity on his side and things like that I feel like pushes him ahead of it.
He's got higher score for popularity and 1 point higher for credibility to me, but he's got lower for backstage, and that killed him.
Mm. Oh yeah, well the backstage thing is usually the killer for a lot of these guys. I mean that's the killer for Shawn Michaels. If Shawn Michaels was an angel backstage, then he'd be like in the
98
90s,
something like that.
Yeah. So it's like it's the bigger issue of some of them.
What are some of the other ones that we've got a big disparity for instead? Let me adjust this Mick Foley thing because I got a 68 and you've got an 84 and an 83. So what am I low on here? I've got him at 2s for athleticism and physique.
See, I guess it's how you judge athleticism, really, because yes, he isn't the most mobile or active wrestler in the world. I have him as a 6 because he has a diverse enough moveset, and what he needed to do in the ring, he could do pretty well. Like, it's not like his matches were dull in any regard in terms of his moveset. Like, he formed a fair number of moves. He would fly off the ring. He would, like, do a lot of stuff outside of the ring. So maybe a 6 might be. I originally had it at 5. I pushed up to 6 just because I can name a lot of great Mick Foley matches that I enjoy watching. Most of that is due to psychology, which will have intense psychology, but part of that is athleticism as well.
I gave him a 4 for athleticism because he did a lot, but he didn't do it pretty. It was all very gritty and real. For me, with Foley, the thing is, I have him with a lot of 10s because he just talk about a guy who's an angel and just as such incredibly popular. He's got a lot of 10s for me.
I bumped him up to a 10 on public relations, and I'm thinking about bumping him up to a 9 on psychology instead of an 8.
I got him at a 10.
Yeah, I have him at a 10 for psychology, because basically always matches had to be built around psychology because he was so limited in the ring.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, you know what? He gets a 10. I love Foley.
Yeah, so I have the 3 10. I have 3 10s for him, which is 3 title avengers. So for psychology, character, and public relations, my 10s for him.
That's what I got for that too. I'm considering maybe bumping him to a 10 for backstage.
So I have a whopping 5. No, I counted that wrong. A whopping 6 10s for Foley. And it's psychology, character, backstage, public relations, popularity, because nobody's more genuinely popular across the board than Foley, and credibility, because I think Mick Foley is a crazy motherfucker, and you can't convince me otherwise.
See, I couldn't give him a popularity for a 10 for popularity. That to me is Hogan, Austin,
Hogan, Rock. Yeah,
Rock,
Austin.
That kind of thing. The highest I've got for popularities are Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan. I've got Goldberg at a 9 for popularity from back in the day. I don't know if I need to maybe make that an 8.
I have him at an 8.
I've been a 9. I think 9's totally
you can make
fair
an
for
argument
Goldberg.
for 9. Totally.
Yeah. But I only have Foley as an 8 for credibility. Because he was a crazy bastard and he seems pretty indestructible. But then again, he lost a lot because he was putting so many people over. And every time he was the world champion, he held it for a couple of days and then he dropped it.
But every time he was the world champion, it was a credible win.
Well, Austin won in the title the first time.
Oh, that's... listen, Foley is a great man, and I think
and the second time he won it, he dropped a forklift on Brock's chest. So
I didn't get it the third time.
So I bumped him up on something that I realized was a mistake. I had him at a 5 for entrance. That's an 8.
His entrance is great, yeah.
Because I forgot about the whole switching the themes when he was Mankind and
Dude Love
having some fun. So that's an 8 for that because that was fun. So that's already bumped him up to a 74 instead of a 68. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't really give him much more than a 2 for physique. To be perfectly honest, he's one of the very weakest physiques that's been out there.
See, I've given him a 4 for it because to me, a 2 for physique would be somebody like a King Kong Bundy, where that Foley doesn't have a great physique, but at least he's covering it the entire time.
Fair.
Whereas his buddy, he's got terrible physique and he's showing me all of his terrible physique. So it's
See, Bundy, I wouldn't do that because he's meant to be a big monstrosity type thing.
Well, Foley was a big monstrosity.
He wasn't booked to be the unstoppable force. You know what I mean?
He was booked to be the crazy force that he was a monster because of unbelievable.
Yeah, he's booked to be it's an odd one because I agree with you that his physique can't be. I have it at 4 because I know it can't be better than average because he doesn't have a great physique. But I couldn't put it any lower than that because in my mind, his physique is part of his charm.
See, he's a crash test dummy, and they don't need to be out of shape.
No, yeah, but it's just a case of he doesn't have to be out of shape, but it's almost him being out of shape was the thing that carried him forward with all the other stuff. Is because people just looked at him and thought, well, I can get behind that guy because he looks just like me.
Like Bullfit from NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a random obscure reference.
Yeah, no.
Bam Neely. So I mean, I at least bumped him up to a 74. That's making me feel better about that. I might adjust that in the future. I don't know. We're around the same for a couple of these other people here. We're in the 60s range for Santino. I don't think that's
Alright.
anything super
No,
different.
let's address the big. Well, we've already had like a couple of episodes. The 50 for Rob Van Dam.
I'm not a Rob Van Dam fan.
I know you. It's pretty obvious based on this
Yeah.
for Rob Van Dam. So I want to have a look at deep dive of these ones. 8 for athleticism. I'm totally cool with an 8 for athleticism. I mean, I have it at 9. That 8 is totally understandable. So you have 5 for psychology, which is, I think it's a harsh, but I can see why you said that, because his matches are mostly spot-based matches.
Exactly.
Doesn't need to be super psychological. A 3 for charisma is a little bit low.
What the hell, man? Like,
He's not a great promo, but that was part of it. It's just like, hey, I'm just like I'm the weed guy, so I'm just gonna do that sort of stuff. He was charismatic.
I don't remember him having a whole lot of charisma other than just being like, I'm fucking Rob Van Dam, and it's like, well, we get it.
I think at a floor level is probably a 5. Is probably the basement for that. Character is a 2. I mean, that's just not on.
He's got no character.
He doesn't have a character.
His character is he points to himself.
that's
He's the whole effing show.
That's not character.
I think it's a.
All right, let's talk about this, Tony. Hold on, I want to go deep inside your mind. When is the first time you saw Rob Van Dam?
ECW.
Holy shit!
What year?
Probably would have been 97, 98.
Was he hyped up to you in advance? Do you just you hold the grudge because
Rob Van Dam was the guy that everybody was saying in ECW, this guy's the next big thing. This guy's the Shawn Michaels of that. He's the best thing ever. Nobody else on WWE or WWF or WCW can match him. And I was like, okay, so he can do some flips and some kicks, and he has like an airbrush thing. And I'm like, well, you know what? The Dudleys got tie-dye, and Sabu does he crashes through things. So what's so special? Like, that's
why are you so salty, Tony? Let's.
I mean, to be fair, he's partly convinced me to drop his character down to a 6. But,
see,
but I wouldn't go any lower than that.
Tell me a great Rob Van Dam promo.
The one that he cut on ECW One Night Stand when he was injured and so he couldn't compete on it.
Yeah, because he was pissed legit. He has to be legitimately upset.
Yeah.
What are his character traits?
He's never legitimately upset.
He's just pretty cool and easy about all this stuff. He's very relaxed and he's just like but he gets and he thinks that he's the shit. And that's basically his character, is that he thinks that he's better than everyone else.
I feel like his character is that the real guy is stoned.
Yeah, that works for me. I mean, it's working for Matt Riddle, and so it's working for Rob Van Dam.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like, I judge that based off of if I were to judge Sandman's character. Sandman is he's a drunken mess. And then it's like, oh, he's not playing a character. That's just Sandman. you know?
All right, so past those points. So you have him at a 6 for Zeke. So clearly you did not see. You said you skewed towards their peaks. Rob Van Dam's peak was jacked.
Rob Van Dam.
He was in like great. Obviously, right now he would probably be like a 2. maybe not that low, but like at least a 4 because he's definitely past his prime. But at his peak, he looks really good.
So I can't really tell because he's always wearing this singlet. Where like I would compare him to somebody like Holly or Cody or.
He had pretty giant arms.
What do I have him at?
A 6.
6?
I think it's at least a 7. Entrance, you have him at. You have a 4 for entrance.
Why?
What was his entrance? I don't remember.
The song is great.
One of a kind.
Yeah, one of a kind. He like there's pyro. He does his hand thing. He gets crap crowd interaction is one of my biggest things for entrances, and he gets crowd participation for his entrance. Like, he has his own real announcement because the ring announcer does the RVD. Like, he's got a lot of bespoke elements to his entrance.
I'll bump him up to a 5.
I mean, backstage you have him at a 5, and I think 5. I think 5 is. I was being generous when I gave him a 5, but I think that's fair. And public relations is a 4 for me, and I feel like that's just, you have him at a 2.
Yeah, he's got to be low on PR because this dude's been arrested. This dude's kind of annoyed people. I mean, now with the whole Impact thing, like he got them banned on Twitch. You know,
Yeah,
like,
I'm jumping to a 3. He's alright.
All right, I have adjusted some of my scores. I dropped him down to a 4 with public relations. I had him high. I forgot that
he's always high.
got arrested. That's why.
Oh God, we've got to do Mojo Rob. Oh, it's hype actually, not high, but yeah. And I have 8 for I have 8 for popularity and credibility.
I have
so
him 8 and 7, so I mean that's pretty much on par. So the only thing that I'm really disagreeing with you guys on, even though there's a gap of 20 between me and Callum, is I guess like charisma and character. Yeah. Since what do you have him at? I have him at 3 and a 2. You have him at what?
A 7 and a 6.
Yeah, so that's a big difference.
Yeah. I mean Rob has him even higher than me for a lot of these.
Yeah, I've actually lowered his score significantly during this conversation.
So like,
admittedly he's now down to a 69 for me. So it's like
I have
it's a bit closer.
Too.
So you both have him at 69. So now we have an 18-point gap between us still. it's a big.
I think you're in the wrong here, Tony.
Listen, you're just salty, but there's nothing we can do about that.
Now, to be fair, you guys were very much more into the Ruthless Aggression era, which was very much more Rob Van Dam than when I got into it.
I'm judging a lot of this based on ECCW stuff because I feel like his stuff towards the peak of ECW was better than anything he did in WWE.
I can see bumping him up from charisma of a 3 to a 4. Character, I don't know. I can't. Character.
It's more than a 2.
Yeah.
A 4. Come on.
He's currently the lowest I have for character. I'll put that out there.
What about his character right now?
I haven't seen any of it.
So he's like Mr. Like I've got a wife and she's got a girlfriend,
and it's amazing. And now he's doing cancel culture gimmick with Joey Ryan because I guess because it's like a haha because they would be opposed to cancel culture, but now they're embracing it.
I would give you this: his character, whatever you want to term it as, is very for the vast majority of his career was pretty one note.
But the one note played well. Like Dusty Rhodes' character was one note.
Yeah, but he.
I mean, what would you say would be like a? What would you say would be like a 1 for character? Who would you think would have a 1 for character? For me, that's someone like a Kerwin White.
I don't know if I'd go necessarily bad character has to be 1, or if I'd go no character has to be 1.
Like I'm thinking no character, like Danny Burch would be a 1 for me.
I think I'd lean more towards no character, and the first name that popped in my head, which I don't know if I can think of a better option, would be Jacob Novak from NXT. Like a guy that like I honestly don't remember being anything other than a name and wearing white trunks and getting eliminated. So that's where it's like, well, he had no character. He was just a blank sheet.
So you're going to tell me that RVD is just like, well, you just did it now, but he was before you said he's only one step ahead of that guy.
Yeah, so because I looked at the thing and I said, well, I've got Steve Blackman at a 4. I can't have him at a 4 and Rob Van Dam at a 2. So he's got more character than that. I should probably give him a 5 instead of a 4 too.
You would enjoy a 5.
So
a 5, I can understand it.
So that bumps him to a 55. I mean, he goes up 5 points so far from this discussion. Charisma, I don't know if I'd go higher than the 4 though. Yeah, well,
listen, I can understand that.
Charisma's not all verbal, so he does have charisma beyond the verbal stuff. You know, at the
But
very
a lot of
least,
that, a lot of that comes. See, a lot of that, like, I don't know, where does that come with psychology and where does that come with charisma? It's like it's the blending of these stuff.
yeah, but I gave him a 5 for psychology, so I probably should give him a 5 for charisma too. Because I don't remember psychology in the ring. I don't remember that being anything other really than him just wrestling. So I haven't seen his matches more, but
his physique is a 6. So you're saying that Bob Holly has a better physique than Rob Van Dam?
From what I can tell, I don't know.
No, you're not. No.
Okay, so you have him on par with, in terms of physique, with Roddy Piper.
Do I have Piper at a 6?
Yeah.
All right, he has to be a 7.
There we go. See, we're gradually like grinding his way up this show. Backstage and public relations, you should not change either of those.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm changing those around.
Entrance should be at least 6.
Who do I have?
You got a 5.
Well, I got Santino at a 5. I like Santino's better than Rob Van Dam's, I think.
What the fuck?
Objectively, like Rob Van Dam's has more crowd participation, more pyro. Santino didn't have pyro.
Pyro, yeah, he did have pyro.
He had multiple entrance musics as well because Santino.
Callum, are you a lawyer? Because like you should be.
I'm gonna wear him down. Like I'm going beyond lawyer. I'm being like the cop in an interrogation room right now.
What was AJ Lee's entrance? I have her at a 6.
It was her skipping to the ring.
Yeah, but she was
to
cute.
The song "Light It Up."
So she was good to look at.
I have her at a 5, and she's my favorite. And even I know that's not great.
Yeah, I have her at a 6 for her entrance, but I have RVD as an 8 for my entrance. So
let's bump him up to a 6. He's at a 58.
Okay, I feel like we're not going to get any more out of you for that because the other 4 things you're not going to change. So
what were the things that it's psychology, charisma, character, and what else would it be at that point? I mean the back 4 things because you've been going like left to right, so you're not going to change backstage or public relations or popularity or credibility. So I feel like we're not going to drag you up any further than a 58, which is still criminally low, but we can't change your bad opinions. Well, what is it that you guys have so much higher than me right now then, other than charisma and character? Do you have psychology as being far more than a 5?
I have it a 7.
Yeah.
So you basically have like 7s where I have 5s, and that makes...
Yeah. I have just from my opinion, I have 1 more for athleticism, I have 2 more for psychology, I have 2 more for charisma. I have 1 more for 2 more for charisma. I have 1 more for character. I have 1 more for physique. I have 2 more for entrance. Backstage we're the same. Public relations I've got 1 more. Popularity we're the same, and credibility I've got 1 more. So most of them I'm just like 1 or 2 ahead.
Yeah, and I'm not going to convince you. If you had a hard time thinking that his physique is better than Hardcore Holly, I'm not going to convince you of anything.
If you could show me a picture of him without the singlet on, I couldn't find one. Then that might make a big difference.
I'll try and dig it out, but like.
And if you could show me of him having some character,
I don't know if I can help with that.
We might have to put a pin in RVD, but he got a bump up. He got 8 extra points so far. That's a jump.
You found something to bitch about.
Hold on. I found a photo.
Okay, you gotta send that to me.
If you think that Hardcore Holly is better than this, then I'm gonna have to ask you a lot of questions about your mental state.
And he's probably getting a lot of that asked already. Like, if we hadn't stopped him earlier, we'd be doing Fanboys Anonymous.
That's right.
I can't really tell. It's a really tiny picture, and he's got the singlet on.
Look at his arms, Tony.
It's a really tiny picture.
Callum, how tiny is the picture?
I haven't even seen the picture. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you sent it to me in a
I thought I gave it to
private chat. No.
I sent the wrong link. Great.
It was the best moments of the XFL season. Great.
Well, if RVD looks like XFL, then yeah, it's only loading.
It's not a great pick. It's not a great picture you've chosen there.
I think that shows a lot of definition. Fine, I'll show you this one.
I think that I need to lower him now because he's very tiny. If you want more of this, donate to the Patreon. Patreon.com/SmarkOutMoment.
Look at that. Look at that. Just 1 second.
Okay. All right. Well, he's got muscles.
Yeah.
He's doing the Jean-Claude Van Damme thing. So what do I have him at? 7? That's Who do I have for the other scores here? I got Jericho at a 7. I got Bagwell at a 9. I got Shelton Benjamin at an 8. I got Del Rio at an 8. Paige at an 8. I couldn't go higher than an 8. That's for sure.
Well, I haven't got any higher than 8. We're just saying jokes.
I haven't gotten any higher than 8 either. But like, hey, man.
Tell you what, I'll give him a 7.5.
All right,
because I could add points.
He's just going to be deliberately or chased. That's fine. I feel like we've exhausted what we're going to get out of him for Rob Van Dam. He's not a Rob Van Dam fan.
I might have to give him a 0.5 on something else just to balance that out if I don't like the whole 58.5. Because right now he's the only one that's got a point something or other. So maybe I'll go like either character or charisma or something like that and give him another 0.5 somewhere. Let's see.
We're going to need to move on to someone else because unless people are really listening that are big fans of RVD.
I mean,
I'll go 6.5 in entrance. There you go.
What do you have for backstage for Triple H, Cal?
A backstage for Triple H? Oh, God, I need to check. I have his backstage at 7.
I have a 7 as well.
I have an 8.
See, I can totally understand.
Yeah, I think I need to bump it up to an 8 because Triple H had a lot of... Yeah, he had a lot of issues with a lot of people, but I mean, we did the Triple H one 6 years ago, something like that. His reputation with NXT has gotten significantly better. Yeah, people love Triple H now.
But I do kind of bring things down into the fact that, yes, he did bury a lot of people, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that aren't big fans of Triple H. And there's the whole the MSG incident.
The curtain call?
Yeah, the curtain call. Whatever you want to call whatever the term is for it. Yeah, so I feel okay with a 7. It might go up. I would be okay changing it to an 8, but I'm fine sticking with a 7 at the moment. Mainly because I don't want to give Triple H a 90 overall at the moment. Just feel like they're back a little bit.
So I've got him at an 85, and let's see, 7 athleticism, 8 psychology. I don't know. Maybe I need to bump that up to a 9 for psychology for trips.
Oh yeah, I definitely have a 9 for, or at least I do. Yeah, for psychology. You have him for a 7 for athleticism.
How much do you have him for athleticism?
7. And 8. Yeah, I have 8.
I have him at a 9.
He's never been some cruiserweighty type of guy or something to me.
No, but I don't feel like that necessarily needs to be the case. But it's just a case. I don't feel like he has the most diverse moveset in the world. It's great, but it's like it can. Listen, I've seen plenty of Triple H matches that are great. I've seen plenty of Triple H matches that are boring. So with if he doesn't have the right work with him, he can't carry it to a great match on his own.
So I got 9 charisma, 8 character, 9 physique, 8 entrance, 8 backstage, 9 public relations, 9 popularity, 9 credibility. I mean, I can't really go that much higher. I mean, the lowest score he's got is 1-7, and everything else is an 8 or a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, because I have 8 for athleticism, 9 for psychology, 9 for charisma, 9 for character, 10 for physique, 10 for entrance. 7 backstage, 8 public relations, 9 popularity, and 10 credibility. And there's some ones that I can change, but I don't really want to change. I would be a mixture of putting some down, putting some up in relation to. But I wouldn't want to deviate from the overall score because I think 89 is high enough.
Yeah,
I got him at a 9 for athleticism, 10 for psychology, 8 for charisma, 8 character, 9 physique, 10 entrance, 8 backstage, 9 public relations, 9 popularity, 8 credibility.
8 for credibility?
Yeah, 8 for credibility.
He's a 14-time world champion.
Yeah, but he needed a lot of help along the way.
I think he's got to be a 9 or a 10. I got him at 10. Just the amount of
Listen, you don't have to argue too much with me to bump Triple H's score up.
It's just I can't see the phrase 14-time world champion and not think 10. Like you have Edge at a 10, right?
I do. Yeah. All right. That's fine. All right, I have to bump him up to a 10. Now, he's the Edge. I love Edge, but Edge is no Triple H. So yeah, if I'm gonna say Edge is a 10, I might even move Edge down to a 9.
Well, no,
he's a 9 for me.
Well, so I have them both on there because they're both like
multiple time champions.
Well, yeah, I kind of feel like once you pass the 10 world title threshold, you kind of have to be at that sort of level.
You get a point for each title win. You heard it here first.
I have a difference though between like Lesnar is a 10 for me for credibility and Edge is a 9 because to me it's like Edge did win with help and cheating and he lost the title pretty quickly afterwards sometimes, whereas Lesnar's like I straight up beat legends in a couple seconds and hold the title for a year each time kind of thing. So it's like there's definitely a disparity between Edge and Lesnar to me.
It's weird. Like Edge I would say is credible in a wrestling sense and Lesnar is just credible.
Well, yeah, I just go like I agree with you. They're two different kinds of credibility, but I still think in my mind they still add up to 10 in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So it's like
talking about Lesnar though. I've got Lesnar at a 73, and you guys got 85 and 80. So let's see where a difference maker is there. I got a feeling probably one of the things is I've got him at a 5 for both charisma and public relations.
So I have him at a 7 for charisma because when he wants to be charismatic, especially when he did stuff in like the Brock box, like the Boom box.
Yeah,
stuff,
he's done that since then.
And the mariachi band with the Eddie Guerrero stuff and things like that. So when he needs to turn on the charisma, he can really pull out some good stuff. He doesn't do it often, which is why I can't go any higher than a 7. And
I have him at a
7 is too high.
Well.
Yeah, but I just feel like he does have charisma to him.
Here's an argument. Character-wise, it's his whole point not to do anything. Because like he's got Paul Heyman, and like he's just like a guy that just goes and does his thing, and it's like, I mean, certain people, their characters don't revolve around them; they revolve around their managers and stuff like that. Like, you know, like I mean, this is a weird comparison, but like Kamala, for instance, Kamala had very little charisma, but he had a lot of character because he had a manager with him. If he wouldn't have, he would have just been a weird dude that's painted. But the character or the manager with him brought out that character in Kamala. Now, Kamala's not some 9 or anything like that, but like Kamala, it very easily could have been like a 2 of just like, oh, look at this dude who's painted up weird. To, oh, okay, this guy's got a character. And Lesnar with Heyman is a character. It's just not The Undertaker. Like, Undertaker's a 10 for character. Easily a 10.
Yeah.
So I can't give Lesnar something like a 9 or a 10. But I have him at a 7, and I'm like, I don't know if maybe he should be an 8.
Well, I've still justified Brock Lesnar as a 10 for a character.
So I have him at a 9 for character, but I have him at a 10 for psychology, because you could argue that the Brock Lesnar match is shit, but Brock Lesnar understands what he is meant to do.
I almost gave him like, I dropped it a little bit because I have him at a 9 for psychology, because I totally agree with you. But I wonder how much of that is Brock knowing what to do. And Brock's an intelligent guy, so I'm sure he does know a lot about it. And how much of it is Heyman knows the perfect match for Brock Lesnar to do.
You know what, though? I'm bumping him up to an 8 because out of when you just said how much is it that he knows what to do, I just thought of something. Drew McIntyre hits him with a Claymore on the stage, and Brock goes, grab the belt. He gets an extra point for me for that.
He's a very underrated performer because due to the fact of how short his matches are nowadays.
I'm bumping up an extra point on athleticism too.
What's your lowest score for Lesnar?
5 for charisma and public relations.
Mine is like, I think my lowest are 7s, but I have 7s for charisma, backstage, and public relations.
The only reason I have a 6 for Backstage is only slightly better than my PR thing.
I might drop him down to a 6 actually for Backstage in retrospect, just because I know he's not. Maybe part of the reason why I had him at 7 is because he's not backstage often enough to really bother anybody. But like he has had.
I have him real low for Backstage. I have him at a 4, and I'll explain why. He left the company. He walked out on the company and basically enforced the whole idea of, okay, we're never going to try to make one guy ever again because we made Brock, and Brock just left us high and dry.
I try not to pin all of that on Brock, though. I mean, I know Brock is still. It's not Brock's fault that he wasn't happy.
I guess
like, but I just have him at a 6 because, from what I gather, like the stuff that people talk about, how Brock's burying talent and stuff like that, is more character stuff than anyone actually really thinking about it. I mean, I think John Moxley in his like the shoot interview mentioned stuff about like it's part character and it's part like not being happy that a part-timer's getting the opportunities and things like that. But so 6 I feel is fine because I think he's generally just well liked when he is backstage, and he's always come across as like the pretty model professional, like especially nowadays.
It's weird, like
as long as the money's right, he'll do what you tell him to.
Do you go with the guy who pretty much probably would just do what you would tell him to do for the money, or do you go with the guy that's like, I need my own jet, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to work these days, I'm not going to do that, and if I don't want to do it, then I don't want to do it, and that's the end of it, and you can fucking fire me? Like, that's kind of shitty, but you can't blame him either, because it's like, fuck, I would want to do that too, you know? Like, it's just, he's got
he knows what he's
power,
worth.
so
he knows what he's worth, and he plays to it. So
yeah, so
I can't blame him for that.
I think I might keep him at a 6 for backstage. Maybe I'll bump him up to 6 on public relations though, because he wasn't arrested. He didn't cause any problems.
No,
he's just a guy who doesn't want to do much. And if my base range is, well, if you don't cause any issues, you're at least a 5 kind of thing, then I'll bump him up an extra point.
I mean, I push it up to a 7 because even though he's someone who's not really going to be used too much as a PR capacity, because he's not a guy that likes doing the PR stuff, because he just wants to sit on his ranch and like stay away from people. But I push it up to a 7 just because he's a quote unquote legitimate fighter. So I know that sort of lends into the credibility side of things as well, but it also lends into public relations in that he's like, okay, we can use this guy because, you know, he's an actual fighter. He's not one of these pretend people that we have walking around the place.
I also just bumped him up 1 more point on entrance because I forgot that he's got pyro and the song works. Like, so
yeah,
an 8 for an entrance makes sense to me. 8's cool. Although I got Foley at an 8. Foley's better. Does Foley's entrance equal Lesnar's entrance? No, probably not.
I mean,
Foley's got a better entrance.
See, I put Lesnar ahead of Foley in terms of entrance, but
I would too.
Yeah, but I have them both at 8 because I feel like they're not too dissimilar in terms of how good they are. But yeah,
it works for Lesnar
for now. So
just because Foley's a little bit more gimmicky, it doesn't mean that it's better. So yeah, it works for Lesnar. So Lesnar bumped up a little bit. He's a 78 for me now. Let me address Ryback. Because he's at a 70 right now for me, and Callum's got him at a 58, and Rob's got him at a 65. So we're 5-10 apart going on here. I think I'm keeping him at a 10 for physique because Ryback was huge, and he's what you kind of want in a guy. Like, he could move quicker and all that, and he looked like he could beat anybody. I kind of put him on par with like a Brock Lesnar for physique and Goldberg.
See, I've got him at a 9, and I'm trying to like balance it out a little bit. It's just I feel like he was too far. It was it's hard to really tell. I just feel like it almost lends into like the blend into the credibility and the athleticism and other side of things, because he looked like that, but he wasn't treated like that. If you go for someone who looked like that, if he looked like that and he was booked like Goldberg or Lesnar, then he's a 10. But he wasn't booked like Goldberg and Lesnar, so it almost drops his physique down for me in my mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had him at 6 for credibility because he was not credible. He didn't win these matches. He kept getting those matches. They're kind of what they did with Strowman, although they've given Strowman a little bit more, where like he kept getting like, oh man, this is the time, and then it was like, nah, never mind. So like he can't be more than a 6 for credibility. Popularity,
Yeah,
I had him at a 7. He was popular. He could have gone somewhere.
I feel like a 7's a good number for someone who at one point was like the most over thing in the company, but only for a really short period of time. And for a very, very short period of time, for like a few months, he was the most over guy in the company.
I feel I'm pretty confident in my 6 for psychology, because he knew how to play up the whole like feed me more in the middle of the match and stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like
it wasn't special, but it's fine.
6 for charisma makes sense. He did have some charisma to him like that.
See, I have him at a 4.
You know what?
So
Fuck. That means I have to
just don't feel he's a great promo.
That means I have to bump up Rob Van Dam to 6 for charisma. Yeah. All right.
I mean, I might push him up to a 5 just because he wasn't the worst promo in the world. I don't remember any interesting stuff that he ever said other than "Feed Me More." Like he was most charismatic when he was like towards the end of his run when he didn't give a fuck anymore and he was just like just mouthing off in the ring.
See, but I thought the early run was more charismatic. I thought that like the smash killer feed me more stuff was better than when they tried to give him
the motivational
character
type thing.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's like Aleister Black. Like he was better for me when he didn't say anything in NXT.
Yeah.
And now he starts talking, and now I don't care about him as much anymore.
I mean, did we dock Ryback points because he was Skip Sheffield? Yip. I mean, what it do?
I mean, you should always dock him points for Skip Sheffield. As well as why his physique is a 9 for me because he had a really stupid haircut when he started.
At that point,
when he was in Tough Enough. When he was in Tough Enough, yeah.
We would dock Bray Wyatt points for Husky Harris, you know.
Oh yeah.
I had him at a 7 for character. I feel like that's high.
I'm at a 5. Is one. I mean, it's 5 for me because it's a Goldberg ripoff.
I have him at an 8. Like the character, I'm mainly thinking peak character. It was good before they had him turn heel on Cena.
I just go in the mind of like, if he'd been the first, I don't say it's the first of his type, but if he'd taken on that type of character and had evolved it slightly, then maybe it'd go higher. But I just feel like, yeah, he's just a Goldberg ripoff.
Yeah.
So I've lowered several things, and he's now at a 58. Okay.
He went from 65 to 58.
Yeah, I dropped him hard on the charisma and the character after this conversation.
Well, I've actually bumped him up on a few things. He's actually 60 for me now, so it's like...
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So 58, 60, and I've got him at a 69. I still feel like I could probably lower him a little bit, though. Athleticism, I gave him 7. He was moving around pretty good for a guy his size, so I might keep him there. Psychology, 6. Charisma, 6. Characters, now 6. Physique, 10. Entrance was 7. What was his entrance?
It was the like the hands coming down when they're saying like the "feed me more" thing, and so just like he would stare down the ground, move his arms up and down for a little bit, and then as soon as like the final "feed me more," he would just say "feed me more" and stare up at the camera, say "wake up, it's feeding time," hit himself on the head a few times, and walk towards the ring with a cocky strut.
See, I thought Ryback
he actually had a really good entrance. I thought his entrance was part of the best part of his character.
It psyched you up for him.
Yeah, they really framed his entrance really well. I love actually one of my favorite like small details of his entrance that I really liked was the fact that when he was walking to the ring, they kept him on the left hand side of the camera, and so it's just like you could see the crowd in the ramp like at the side of the stage that he was walking down, but he would just stand at the left. He would keep walking from the left hand side of it. Just thought, wow, that's a unique way of framing his walk to the ring. It's like sometimes the little details I just pick up.
It was a little weird that he had no pyro, but the pyro noise.
Yeah, I know that was odd.
Yeah, but he was ahead of
what that was about.
His time.
Like, why would he have done that? Like, was he like? Wasn't there supposed to be like some kind of rumor that he was like afraid of the pyro, but they wanted the noise or something?
I've never heard that.
Maybe I'm making that up.
It wouldn't
If you want
surprise me.
more Fanboys Anonymous content, go. So I got 7. I got a lot of 7s and 6s for him and stuff, which balances out to a 69. So it's like, should I? Well, backstage and public relations. Since then, he's been bitching and complaining a whole lot, and he doesn't work for the company, so it's not like that's a problem. But I kind of feel like more and more that he talks about stuff, the more that 7 for backstage for me is too high for him.
Yeah, I can't really change too much of these ones. Like, was it so backstage? I have 5 because I don't feel like he did anything too. The thing that's the biggest detriment is the fact that by the end of it, he just looked like he was done. He was just waiting to go out, like putting on the pre-show stopper on his tights, probably like the occasion that he didn't really care too much what was going on. And public relations 4 because I just don't feel like he would ever be brought back. He's like one of those guys, like, or even when you say like never say never for anybody, he's one of those guys. Yeah, he's never coming back.
Yeah, I'm bumping him down. He's going to a 6 on PR. Popularity 7, credibility 6. He might not have been a 7 on popular. I don't know.
I think so. I'm okay with 7.
I think probably 68 makes sense. It makes some sense for me right now. That puts him on par with Ultimate Warrior for me. That's kind of weird. But then again,
he's a little lower than Ultimate Warrior for me. But
he didn't accomplish as much as Ultimate Warrior, and he's not as charismatic and all that.
He didn't accomplish anything. Did he accomplish anything? What did he win?
He won the Intercontinental title.
That's a mistake. He shouldn't have done that.
He won the IC title?
He won the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, he won the Chamber. I remember Bryan being in the Chamber with him.
That's right. Yeah.
Huh. That was when the title was held up after Bryan.
Essentially retired, but we didn't know yet.
We didn't know he was retired yet, but he was pretty much essentially retired.
So really, the reasons why he's on par with Ultimate Warrior for me is that Warrior was nowhere near as athletic.
Yeah, Ryback was
Warrior beat him out as far as like popularity and credibility and stuff like that. So that makes sense. Yeah, you know what? That kind of makes sense. It's a little bit of a trade-off. If you had the popularity of Ultimate Warrior and the athleticism of Ryback, and they both have like good physiques. Warrior's got better for charisma and character, but he's got lower for backstage and public relations. So, yeah, you know what? They actually kind of make sense.
You've actually convinced me to, because I'm keeping Ryback's athleticism at a 5, so I have to drop Ultimate Warriors down to a 4 because he's worse than Ryback, but I don't think Ryback's any better than average.
Well, I have Ultimate Warrior as 4 for athleticism.
Oh yeah,
so
that's fair.
There you go. But I got Ryback as a 7 for athleticism.
Yeah, so. I just feel like it's too limited for that. But that's I'm not going to fight you over that one. So
I kind of, yeah, I kind of think maybe I'll lower that to a 6. I don't know, because I got Steve Blackman at a 7. I got Triple H at a 7. Yeah, Ryback should be a 6.
Triple H at a 7 for athleticism. You're going to Ryback.
Yeah, so he can't be the same as Triple H. Yeah. So he's got to be a 6. So that lowers him down. So he's 1 point lower than Warrior. Okay, that's cool. We're not too far off with Del Rio. I got a 59. Callum's got a 60. Rob's got a 68. You got 9 more points than I do, though.
Yeah, Rob's gone high on Del Rio.
I think because Del Rio is a great wrestler, shitty person.
I didn't really love him in the ring either, though.
Yeah, I have him at a 7 for athleticism, 7 for psychology, because I know that in my heart of hearts he's better than average and he's actually really good. But I don't recall any matches of his. I think, like we were saying earlier, I don't know any matches of his that are great. But I think the best match I saw him was that ladder match against Christian.
Christian came to mind too.
Yeah,
that's
it for me.
So I have 7 athleticism, and then I have 8 for psychology, charisma, character, and physique, and entrance. Quite frankly, Oof. So you got 8 for me for all that. Then he gets 2 4s for backstage and public relations. I give him a 6 for popularity and a 7 for credibility.
I'm lowering him a point for physique to 7, but I'm bumping him up a point or 2. I think I'm going to bump him up 2 points for entrance because he did have a better entrance that I'm giving him credit for.
I'm thinking like the car stuff, with Ricardo.
And he had the pyro and he had the scarf and he did have, you know what? He needs to be an 8.
I'm sticking with 7. I don't think it's any higher than. I think 7's fine for me. It's like because past that car point, it was just him walking to the ring with the music.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But you know what though? He had the car. He had that pyro that was like the falling stuff. He had an outfit that he wore to the ring. He had a movement that he did with the scarf, and he had Ricardo. Ricardo was a big part of that.
Ricardo is a big part of it.
So I'm giving him an 8 on that.
I'll push him up to an 8. That's fine. I mean, I've got him at 6 for charisma, just because I don't recall any super memorable promos that he did, and I have him at a 5 for character because his character when he first came in, and this only really ran in my mind. This only really ran for a few months was the Mexican aristocrat character, and then after that was like his destiny was to win a world championship. After that point, it's just he doesn't really have a character.
But you already
He's just
know that.
there. Yeah, you already know that. Like to me, it just doesn't strike. Like the Mex America thing wasn't a character, and if it is a character, it's negative points really because it was shit. So,
what's his name? Punk called out recently or something about that, didn't he? Did he say something about like or it wasn't recently, was it? Or did you mention it recently? Or did I making this up? Didn't somebody say something about like Punk saying that Del Rio only cut one promo?
I never heard that.
It wouldn't surprise me if he had said that because it's vaguely true. But
I have him for a 2 and a 3 for backstage and public relations because this dude just, he pissed people off. He got people in like situations where they were getting fired. He had the whole Paige thing.
He slapped an intern.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
He's fucking low on backstage and public relations.
Nah, to be fair, but like the intern supposedly said something
racist.
Yeah, racist. You see, I'm dropping it to a.
Good.
You go. No, I was going to say I've got him at. I had him at a 6 because the reason why is because I'd forgotten about that stuff first of all, and secondly because it doesn't seem like no matter what shitty stuff he does, he always comes back. So I kind of feel like there must be some people backstage that like him then.
Although, does anybody actually really like him, though? Because I don't remember him having any particular friends.
Vince likes him.
Rusev liked him.
Like, even, like, Sheamus and Barrett.
Mysterio and him get on well. Like, they I think he's worked with Mysterio quite a lot outside of WWE when they were both on the independent circuit.
Like, Sheamus and McIntyre and Rusev, they seem all cool with each other. And they seem like they're cool with Barrett. And yet, I don't remember them ever bringing up Del Rio. So...
To be fair, that was like one really short gimmick that they was.
In my mind, Del Rio was added to the League of Nations because Cesaro was on the shelf.
Yeah, and if it's just a case of that was a really short-term gimmick. It's not like, Sheamus, McIntyre, people like that, they go back years from like the European circuit and things like that. So I think Del Rio was just plugged into a group with those sort of people for a couple of months and then taken out. But I'll drop it to a 4 for backstage because that's more fitting.
I still have him at a 2 and a 3. I don't know if I should.
You do. I'm not gonna go against you for that one.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna bump him up any higher than that because he kind of started checking everything off the list, like getting in the fights, doing the whole failed business things, and the shit talking the company thing, like.
I remember in that Impact stuff now. I've forgotten about that.
Oh yeah,
stuff. I'm dropping down to 3 now with the Impact stuff.
Did you forget that he went on pay-per-view and bashed Impact for not defending him and literally used the words "I never even touched her," referring to Paige.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit, 3 for me, and that's maybe even being generous, but still.
So. Do I have him higher than you now? I have him at a 61.
I'm at 58 now.
Okay. What's your current score for Del Rio, Rob?
I actually dropped him for backstage and public relations down to a 2. He's at 64 for me.
Wow, I'm just almost the highest for Del Rio. That doesn't sound right at all. It's making me feel bad. How can I lower his points? Let's figure this out.
Well, I've got him he's mostly 7s and 8. He's somewhere between 6s and 7s and 8s across the board for me, besides backstage and public relations.
Yeah.
The lowest things I have him for is character, because I just don't feel like he had a character beyond a certain point. And obviously the backstage public relations. And then I have popularity as a 6, because I just don't feel like people actually really cared that much about him.
I'm dropping his character 1 point. No, he'll feel a little bit better. Let's see what some other ones that we might have. We have Paige around the same marks. Only a couple points difference. Because she's got high up on. She's one of those rare instances. I gave her a high score for backstage, but a low score for public relations. I gave her a 7 for backstage and a 2 for PR.
See, I've given her a 6 for PR now, because now I feel like that stuff would be a negative if they hadn't gotten behind her as a company. I feel like they've tried to sweep it under the rug, but it's not like they punish her for it. They see that as a negative for her. The stuff that came out, obviously the Del Rio stuff and the neck injury stuff and all that other stuff is bad, and that's why it is only just a 6. But she has the movie that came out as well, so
I have her at a 7.
Put in a good line. She was a 40 figure as well, so
I have her at a 7, and I feel like she's one of the very few instances of WWE properly handling a crisis like that. She fixed up her life. She's doing better overall. And they've kept her in the fold. It wasn't all right, we'll make you an ambassador. We'll kind of forget about you. They've kept her largely on screen, whether it be a general manager or a manager or now as a backstage correspondent. She's supposed to be on TV right now. So, they still have plans for her as a character. And, she ended up going through shit that was out of her control and out of the company's control. So what else could they do but stand behind her?
So I bumped her up 2 points from this conversation because part of me does just kind of feel bad, because it is now that I've seen Fighting with My Family, and I know even more, I know that it's not 100% realistic, but it does kind of frame some things in certain contexts where yeah, you know what? I'm not giving enough credit to the fact that that's her family. And nature versus nurture. You can't make all the decisions for yourself when you grow up in a family where people have chemical imbalances, and when you've got a kind of family environment that's not necessarily abusive, but gives you the wrong idea for a lot of things. Her mom got pregnant with her at a very young age. Everybody has substance abuse problems. This one's in jail, this one's what, that kind of. So it's you kind of grow up learning the wrong things, and it could be a lot worse for her. And some of the stuff is more just personal than damaging the company. So even though she gets a weird tattoo and then she regrets it later, the eat shit, get bit type thing, is that really hurting WWE when she's the one fucking it up and she's the one dealing with the consequences? So I'm going to give her a 4 for that for right now. I can't give her a 5. She's not average. She's below average when it comes to that stuff. But I really should lower Ultimate Warrior, because I forgot to do that. So that means that Ryback and Ultimate Warrior are back to being tied. And I got to bump up Matt Hardy, because I had Matt Hardy out of 4 for public relations at this point in time, where he had been in lots of drug issues and stuff. So I maybe put him at a 5. Or do you think that 4 is still good for that?
I have him both at 6 for
him
public relations.
Completely.
Does he get punished for Rebby?
No.
I don't think he should. He should get punished for the things that he did like that domestic abuse thing with Reby, because that's both of them. But...
Yeah, that was more like, it wasn't even like abuse. It was just like they got into a fight.
Oh yeah, it was an incident. Yeah, it's like that. It clearly didn't lead to anything worse than what it was, but they would both be equally tarnished for that because they're both involved. But anything that Reby's done on her own, it shouldn't affect on Hardy.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go back to Matt. I kind of feel like maybe I should adjust Jericho a little bit. I got him at an 84. You guys have him at 88s, and things have changed.
Through the conversations, I've lowered him because I had him at a 10 when this first started for athleticism, and I lowered it to an 8, just because I'm like, yeah, he's not Shawn Michaels,
I think he's better than Shawn Michaels in terms of athleticism. He's got a far more diverse moveset than Shawn Michaels does.
I've got him at an 8 that hasn't been adjusted yet, but I am thinking about maybe bumping him from a 9 on charisma to 10.
I've been a 10 for charisma.
I think he's one of the most charismatic performers that I've ever seen.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm going to 10 for psychology too. What do you have, Matt Callan?
10 for psychology, yeah.
10 for me too. And I've got him at 9 for character, but
I think with someone with such a diversity of characters that he has had, especially now with the Le Champion gimmick and all that other stuff that he's done, the Painmaker stuff, I think he's one of the greatest character performers in wrestling history as well.
All right, I'm gonna bump him up to a 9.
So if I don't lower him, he is currently my number 1 ranked right now by 1 point.
But yeah, I think people now, I know I would say like all people, they will need to start recognizing Jericho as one of the greatest of all time.
Oh yeah, he's getting there.
Because yeah, he's not even done yet. He's probably a good few years away from being done. And for me, he's eclipsed pretty much everybody. There's a very small handful of people that he hasn't lived up to in my mind.
You know, it's funny. He is only 1 point higher than Shawn Michaels to me right now, because that 1 point difference for the most part is entrance. Because he does have a better entrance. He had different pyro. He had different things. Like Shawn Michaels has "Sexy Boy," great song, love it, one of my favorite ones, and he had good pyro. But he had one song. Jericho, I gave him a 10 for entrance because Jericho's got The Walls of Jericho, which is great, and I fucking love the Fozzy song. So
yeah, Judas is great.
I think Judas, at this point, if he gets inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, I'd rather him walk out to Judas. Like, it's a great song, and it does a lot.
And it's got the fan interaction now. The crowd sing along with it. That's even better. Yeah, I've bumped it up to a 10 for entrance. I had it on 9 before, but yeah, you've just now he's on 89 for me. So now he's level with Triple H for me on top. So
I actually, he's right there at an 88 for me. But what do you guys have for credibility? Because I almost think he can be at a 9 or a 10.
I have him at a 9.
I have him as a 10. Just because now that he's got the multiple promotions as well. I mean, since the time he's done this one, he's now AEW World Champ. Well, he has been AEW World Champion and IWGP Intercontinental Champion. He's the most winningest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Multiple time World Champion. I could maybe argue if we drop that one to a 9 more than like a 10, but I don't feel uncomfortable having him as a 10 for credibility.
So I have him at a 10, and with that 10, he's at a 90 for me.
I mean, I'm trying to think because, like, I look at all his numbers and almost feel like...
Hold on.
I look at his numbers and feel like I'm already having it at an 89, and I still feel like I'm selling him short on some of these ones.
Jericho, real shit, Jericho is top tier conversations, talking Flair, like
talking
Rock, Austin, Flair. I mean,
I feel like he. I don't want to say like if he was involved in a different era, because he was involved in like some of the biggest eras in wrestling history, like with the Attitude Era and stuff. I just feel like. Try to give you a minute or whatever.
I was just thinking of the fucking Simpsons thing now. Man in the end can say.
Yeah, that. But you know, I mean, Jericho is that good.
I also like with the argument with Jericho is that if he was like 5 feet, not 5 feet, but 5 inches higher, then he would be considered the greatest of all time. Yeah, if he was 5 feet higher, then he would be a giant among men.
Weighing in at 270 pounds, coming in at 9 feet tall.
But if he was 5 inches taller, then he would be probably considered the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, there's part of me, I'll admit it, there's part of me that's feeling a little sad that Shawn Michaels isn't number one, and it's making me consider maybe bumping him to a 10 on charisma instead of a 9, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I should just be playing bias right there.
You can still have Michaels. This doesn't affect who your favorite is.
Yeah.
Michaels can still be a favorite.
Objectively, he has a better entrance than Michaels does, so that gives him that extra point.
He's better on the mic than Michaels is.
Yeah.
Or at least he's done more diversity with that. He's done more character work than Michaels has because he's got a great variety of characters. Yeah,
that's the difference where the differences for me is Michaels has a higher score for athleticism and the same one for psychology. So he's got a higher athleticism but a lower charisma and character, and that's like, yeah, because he does. Like, Jericho's better with that. Jericho's got a 1 point lower score for physique, because Jericho, I mean, look at Jericho now versus Jericho then. Look at Michaels now versus Michaels then. Michaels now, I think, looks better than Jericho now in comparison, that kind of thing. But they both had issues backstage with certain people. They both have had some different public relations things. Like, Jericho has, like, you know, the whole fight with the fan instance and all. So
the fights with Goldberg backstage and stuff like that.
Not being a fan of dabbling. What are some people we haven't really talked about yet? We kind of went through a bunch of these on this names. We didn't do anything with Roman. Okay.
So you have to change Roman now, because this is Roman. You did Roman like 5 years ago. This is Roman now.
Yeah, Roman as of 2015, he was a 70 for me. So I got to adjust these for sure, because he's going up in some ways. So athleticism, psychology, charisma, character, physique. I don't think I'm changing physique. I think I'm keeping him at 8 for physique.
I mean, I have it at 9, but I think he's understandable.
Entrance.
I mean, he's a Sexiest Superstars winner, so... Actually, has he ever won the Sexiest Superstars?
No, he lost.
No, he lost to Rollins, I think.
Okay, then he's down to a 4. No, it's...
Which, it's so disappointing. Not going to be a regular Superstars tournament this year because of the whole... I mean, for anybody that didn't know, that's confirmation that that's what it was for the demonetization. I had removed all the Sexiest Superstars stuff, and I reworded some of the things where it was like Paige leaked nudes to just Paige's photos leaked, and lo and behold, the channel is remonetized. So now I can remake my pennies per month on the channel, but that means that no Sexiest Superstars tournament on the YouTube channel. But if you do want us to continue to do the Sexiest Superstars tournament in podcast form in some fashion, one of the things that we were talking about at the end of last year and at the end of the tournament last year and everything like that was the idea of switching things up anyway, because we don't really want to do it as much. And we kind of figured that was something that was eating up a lot of time and everything, because every time that I do the Sexy Superstars tournament, there ends up being all these different graphics I have to make and all the editing for the podcast and all that stuff. And predominantly a lot of that ends up being the graphics for the video side of things. Well, something that we don't have to deal with on the video side of things is if we do it audio only. So there more than likely will be, even if it's just one episode of like a whole tournament roundup, probably some discussion on the Sexy Superstars tournament in a couple months. And that it'll probably be on Patreon.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with it. I think it should absolutely be a Patreon exclusive.
So Patreon exclusive, most likely. More details on that when it comes down to it.
But it'll also be on the website. We'll allow like the people to vote
as
on
a voting tournament.
Yeah, the voting tournament thing's sticking around, so don't worry about that, everybody. That's still staying.
Yeah.
But then again, YouTube, Google tries to get me on that too. They try to do the whole like, that's a picture of Tori Wilson in a bikini. That's way too sexual. It's sexually gratifying. It's horrifying content. It's disturbing. We can't do ad space on that. I don't understand that, but yeah, so you know what? I'm doing plugs right now for that. So patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. You know, if you don't know what the whole Patreon's all about, it helps out a lot. And that's not an understatement to say that it is a real channel saver and a website saver in a lot of ways, because the money that comes from Patreon is sustainable a lot more than it is from anything else. And the way that things are happening right now with pro wrestling, we're missing out on the biggest money-making month of the entire year. And that means that my revenue for March and April is going to be crap compared to what it normally is. So that sucks. And I missed out on the majority of March for the from all of like the mid-February through mid-March for the YouTube channel. So missed out on that as well. So the people that have been donating to the Patreon have been really helping out in that regard. So if you have the spare change, which is getting harder and harder for everybody nowadays because of the whole, you know, COVID-19 and all that. If you do, $1 goes a long way, $5, $10, whatever it is. That all is far greater appreciated than you have any idea. And $10 and up gives you access to the Patreon exclusive episodes, which that's kind of what we're talking about with the whole idea of the Sexy Superstars tournament and stuff. We do dark casts where it's just some random topics and some random discussions. Practically once a week, Rob will hit me up and be like, you want to do a dark cast? And that kind of thing. So we've been doing some more of them and all that. And one of the things that we did, which wasn't a dark cast, but one of the things that we did and might be a dark cast going forward, is I tested out with Rob some stuff with OBS, and we got some live stream stuff going on. So some of us were kind of hanging out the other night. I know Christopher Marin was one of them, Grim was one, and we were just kind of shooting the shit and trying to figure out some of the stuff with the audio and everything. So you may be interested in that, and if you are, then we may do some more of that in the future. It might be us goofing around on the webcams and having some fun and doing some stuff. And that also means that we might do live pay-per-view post shows. It might mean that we do live editions of things like this or anything else. I don't know. The more that you guys tell us that you want stuff, and the more that there can be sustainability to it, whether that's through Patreon or through just ad revenue, clicks, shares, super chats in the live chat. I enabled that the other day. Super stickers is a thing. I don't even know what it is, but you know, something to be aware of. So patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. Same thing for Fanboys Anonymous, the thing I mentioned at the beginning of the show. So yeah. So Roman Reigns. That's what we were talking about. Sexy Superstars tournament non-winner. I feel like I gotta bump him up from an 8 to a 9 on public relations.
I have a 10. He'd been cancer.
He's done a lot of cancer fund type stuff.
Let's see what I got.
And Make-A-Wish and all that. Yeah, he's good.
I have Roman Reigns at a 9 for public relations. He did beat cancer, but I think I don't want to push it too hard, because then I feel like it's being cheeky, like the way the company is cheeky when they do shit like the Warrior Award.
I currently have him. I had him in 2015 as a 7 for Backstage. That's got to go up.
I have him at a 9 now.
Yep.
Everyone who talks about him Backstage just says how well liked and how respected he is.
Yeah,
he's the big dog.
He's like a locker room leader. Baron Corbin on the After the Bell was just like, hey, you know, he came up to me and told me, got to do this, got to do that, and you know, so yeah, he's a 9 on that. Popularity, I had him at a 7. This is tough.
He's an odd case.
Roman he's popular as hell, and he was hated, and he's not hated as much anymore, but very quickly people can turn on him on a dime, and if this WrestleMania wasn't in these circumstances, I mean, we'll talk about this, God knows how many times more, but like this WrestleMania, we're not going to be able to judge anything because people are going to judge it positively and negatively, completely based on the circumstances and not what the matches are. And if we would get something like Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins as a regular match on a normal WrestleMania, myself and I'm sure a lot of other people would be like, oh my God, that's the best you could do. And now we're like, can we have 2 people in the crowd? Like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, sometimes when you're eating a meal and it ends up being just okay, it sucks. And some other times you're just like, man, some fucking Ritz crackers will be great right now. You know what I mean? So popularity wise, he's all over the place. He's fucking hated at one point, and he's totally beloved. You got some people that he would get a 1 for, and you got some people that he would get a 10. So he can't be a 5. He's got to be above that. He's got to be a 7, 8, 9, something like that.
I've been 9.
I'm an 8 because, like, even if people don't like him, they're always talking about him. So, to me, that's almost a bigger measure of popularity.
Comparing him to some other people, I got Lesnar at a 9. I got Jericho at a 9. I got Bryan at a 9. Let's see. I got to bump that Bryan to a 10, right? No.
Popularity.
Again, no, I can't. No, I can't go 10.
Yeah, 10 years again. You're looking at Rock and
because
levels, sort of
mainstream level. 9 is that high range before they got to mainstream. So yeah, Bryan's still a 9.
All right, so I'm adjusting some of my scores for popularity because I do have quite a few names at 10, but you guys are right. So my overall score for Michaels now is with Tony at an 84.
I have him at 85.
All right, then it's one lower than Tony at 84.
You had him 1 ahead of both of us, and now you're 1 below both of us.
Yep. Because if we're talking like it's got to be like Rock or Austin for a 10, then yeah, I think Michaels would fare at an 8.
What else can I do with Roman?
I try and think of like the ones that I'm going to end up like putting as a 10 when we ever do it. It's kind of like it's going to be Hogan, Rock, Austin, Flair, San Martino, Andre the Giant. That sort of level of people.
Not to spoil too much, but I gave 10s to Undertaker, Hogan, Cena, Austin, and Rock.
See, I don't even know if I'd give
Undertaker. Do these things,
but yeah.
Oh, Matt. Well, that's the measuring stick. Yeah, Bryan is no Hogan or Taker, so
yeah,
he's right. He's on the definite level just below that. So
I think if they would have kept it up, he could have been. But
if they could have kept it up, that's the thing. Like
if he could have kept up.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a couple weeks after WrestleMania that he ended up getting injured again. So
yeah,
but Roman, he's already bumped up a couple points to me already. He's at a 75, but I think that he should be above a 75, probably. I kind of feel like he should be around like 77, 78. I think I'm probably missing a point or two here.
Let's see. So I'd put him. I have him in terms of my ones. I have him an 8 for athleticism rather than the 7, and a 7 for psychology rather than the 6. The 7 for charisma because I feel like he's gotten better on the microphone recently. Character, I think I'm pretty much the same with you, other than like a 6 because I just don't think he has much of a character.
Yeah. Entrance, I feel went
7 for character.
Entrance, I feel went down even because he doesn't go through the crowd anymore. But
but now he has the thing where he does the fish drop thing, and if it's in a really big venue, then the pyro just goes mental with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'll keep him at a 7 for that.
Yeah, that's why I have him at. And then in the backstage and public relations are high for whatever you want to call it at now. Then it's just a mixture of like his popularity and his credibility.
Credibility, I got to bump him up. He was at an 8. He should be a 9. So I got to bump him up 1 point there. Because, I mean, Roman's beating fucking everybody. He beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, you know?
Yeah.
I think I'll bump him up 1 more point on charisma, too. Because even that right then, they knew well enough for him to just say, it's my yard now. And like, he has kind of molded himself a little bit more into that kind of je ne sais quoi. So that's a 77. You know what? I'm kind of okay with that. He goes up 7 points in the past 5 years. 7 points seems like it's not much, but it's, I mean, 7 points when you're that high up, when your lowest score is a 6 for psychology and a 6 for character. If anything, maybe bump up the psychology to a 7, but if I do that, I got to bump up Santino to an 8 for psychology. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I gotta go there. Santino, you're getting a little bump in the process. Now you're at a 62. So yeah, now Roman's at a 78. Solid number. I'm looking at Piper is one that I feel I'm a big difference for. I got a 70, you got 78 and 80. So I'm missing out on stuff on Piper. Or not. I don't know. It depends. Let's see. I got him at 2 5s. What do I have him at 5 for? What the hell? 5 for athleticism.
And backstage.
He shouldn't be at a 5 for backstage, really.
I feel like, I mean, I've got him at a 7 currently, but I feel like maybe I don't know if it's 6 or 7 is more fitting. So he seems like someone who was respected, but he was a maverick as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump him up to a 6 at the very least.
I think I'll drop him to 6. I think 7 may be a bit too high. I'm a 7 for athleticism because even though he didn't have the most diverse moveset, I feel like he got the most out of stuff that he used. But again, that's probably more psychology wise. So I'm going to drop that down to a 6 as well from the 7 that I had.
So I got him at a 9 for psychology and 9 for charisma. He probably should be a 10.
Both. I think he's a 10 at least for charisma. I think is the most definitive.
I have him at a 10 for psychology. Yeah. Yeah. I have him at a 10 for psychology and charisma.
I have him for an 8 for character because his character, he didn't really have much character. It was just more that he was a good talker.
Yeah, I kind of have it at a 9. It's one of those ones where instead of having a more diverse or nuanced character, he was just on, and his character was just like full on, like 100% Roddy Piper. Like I don't think people could really pull that off. I'm okay with a 9 just for that, really.
I'm actually considering bumping him down to a 7 on character because what was his character? He was just a guy.
He was the hot rod. He's like the I don't know how you really describe it. It was just it was a great heel the majority of the time. It's like a perfect antagonist and someone who just break every rule you possibly could. Like as soon as you have the answers, I change the questions, that sort of thing. So as soon as like anyone seemed to have figured everything out and got it, then he just figures out another way to win, and that's kind of at his level. I mean, his character for a short period in WCW was that I've never lost to Hulk Hogan.
For a while, that was true.
Yeah. Till he's got to get his heat back, though.
I don't know. I'm still debating either 7 or an 8 for character. Physique, I have him at 6.
I have him at a 7.
I go 6. He didn't have a particularly defined body. It wasn't terrible, but
it was a good body for the day.
For the day, yeah. But then you talk about Roddy Piper when he came back in 2003.
Yeah, but he was older.
Yeah, well, he was still wrestling, and so you got to take that into account.
The entrance, I got him at a 6.
And he was tag team champion in 2006.
Well, to be fair, he beat the Spirit Squad. So
who combined have held the titles longer than Edge and Christian.
Oh fuck! I hate that fact.
Yeah. Entrance I had a 7. I think the music is really iconic. So I always like entrance music that has the little thing at the start of it that makes you know, okay, this guy's coming out.
Like Bret Hart's little kind of thing and stuff. Like, yeah. Really, the only things that I mean, I don't know if I could really bump up. I guess I could bump him up at least one more point for athleticism because he shouldn't be at a 5.
Nah. That's Buff Bagwell. Yeah, Buff Bagwell at 5.
Yeah, he's better than Buff. But
everybody's better than Buff.
I got a lot of people at 7s around that point, and I feel like Steve Blackman is more athletic than Roddy Piper.
I can see that.
I feel like Piper is like I don't know if I can. If I got Bob Holly at a 6, I don't know if I can really say Piper is a 7.
I think he's more athletic than Holly.
I don't know. Piper, could he really do drop kicks and stuff?
I don't know. Maybe Bob Holly is the Rob Van Dam for me.
I don't know. Could Bob Holly apply sleep hold? Don't know.
So that's I only have Piper at a 73. That feels low to me.
Well, I've dropped him down to a 76 now. It's not super far apart.
What's your current score, Rob?
Yeah, I'm gonna drop him down as well. Like, I had his entrance at a 7. I'm gonna lower it to a 6 because I think that he had a cool song, but he didn't play the bagpipes to the ring a lot himself. So I have factored that in when I was giving him a 7 because I always thought that was a cool visual. But I'm gonna lower him as well to about a 9 for charisma, or maybe even an 8. What do you guys have for charisma for him?
10.
Tony?
10.
All right, then I'm not moving that at all. All right, I got him at a 79 now. What do you have, Matt? 73? That's not too far apart.
I have 73. Callum's got 76. So we're 3-3.
All right, 3-3. Yeah, like.
So you got 6 points more than me on that, but that's like it's a balancing kind of measure. Callum in between the two of us like that, sandwiching them. Are there any other weird disparities? Did we skip anybody? That's like, I mean, we didn't need to do absolutely everybody. Like, I don't think we really need to change AJ Lee because we're 74, 72, and 75, like that kind of thing.
Well, I think the biggest gaps that remain are kind of the Mick Foley used to have it at 74, but you haven't changed the aspects of that compared to me and Rob's. You still have RVD quite
far too low,
super
whatever.
Not super far away from that. Now it's only 9 difference. That could be worse.
Let's see here. It looks like Foley, Rob Van Dam,
say
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
I didn't adjust him.
Buff's there's a disparity between Buff between Rob and you. So
I'm actually in the process of lowering Buff as we speak because I just looked up and he's higher than Hardcore Holly, and I don't like Holly. Fuck Buff Bagwell, man. Like, shouldn't be higher than anybody on this list.
Most of them are pretty fairly close. I think the last one we really need to super address would probably be Daniel Bryan, just because I think 75 would need to be adjusted.
So I'm thinking, at the very least, based off of these, the ones that do have the biggest gaps are Foley, RVD, Daniel Bryan. We didn't do anything with Shane McMahon, really. Ryback still has a pretty decent gap. Goldberg, Paige, and Matt Hardy. Paige doesn't. Paige is 64, 67, 65.
Just real quick, I've lowered Buff Bagwell to a 47.
That happened very quickly.
He went from a 58 to a 47?
Yeah,
wow.
I took down some of the public relations. I forgot that he had his mother call Jim Ross to call in sick for him. And I took down his credibility because he's Buff Bagwell.
Well, that's closer to mine then because I have him about a 46. So 46, 47, and 51.
Yeah.
But let's talk Goldberg. We're already at
we have to?
2.5 hours of this podcast, but Goldberg, I've got a 73. I've got Callum as an 80 and Rob as a 75. That's not too far off, but maybe there's some kind of adjustments because he has done things since then.
Mm.
6 for athleticism. I think that's still fair. 6 for psychology.
I give
Yeah,
him
6 for
7.
athleticism, yeah.
4
I'll
for
comment on that.
charisma. I think I might give him one more.
I think
Maybe
he's gone better
5.
at promos in his older age.
He's not
I
the
think
most
it's just-
charismatic, but
I think it's just the fact that, in comparison, because nobody else can cut a fucking promo, Goldberg looks like he's gotten better.
5 for character. He doesn't have any character.
I
he's
disagree with that. I have him at a 9 for character.
Yeah, so Goldberg,
Really?
the Goldberg character is the Goldberg character.
Goldberg has such a character that he can destroy the Fiend because he understands his character and that he doesn't sell for anybody.
See, I
His
think that's,
character is an unbeatable killing machine.
but I have him at a 10 for credibility. I feel like that's just credibility.
I think they blend into each other. His credibility is his character, his credibility is his character.
See, I think I judge character more based off of like from like a writer's perspective, I guess. Like if I were to look at like a character, say Ultimate Warrior versus Goldberg, I'd be like, okay, Warrior's got more character because he's got the tassels, he's got the face paint, he's got some stuff going on where he's talking about the heavens and whatever, and you're like, oh, what the fuck is this guy? That's kind of confusing. But Goldberg's just like, I am Bill Goldberg. I was football guy. Now I'm wrestler, and I beat you. And somebody like Lesnar is like, oh, I'm a guy who beats people, but it's like he plays into it more. Goldberg's just like, I'm tough, and you're next. And Lesnar's like, I'm gonna walk away and laugh at the challenge, kind of a thing, and like, kind of like. So I don't feel like Goldberg should really be all that high. Especially compared to like I have Buff Bagwell at a 6 for character. Bagwell's got more character than Goldberg, I think.
I think it just depends on what your definition is for that sort of thing. I just feel like Goldberg, he has so much presence and he has an aura surrounding him, which is built up it's built up through credibility, but it's also part of his character is just the fact that he walks into any sort of environment or arena and it's just like, wow, that's Goldberg. I just don't feel like you get that sort of reaction of someone like, oh, it's about Buff Bagwell. I feel people would connect more to Goldberg as a character and as an individual more than most, well, I don't say most, but a lot of people on this list. Maybe a 9 is too high, but I certainly would never drop any lower than 8 for his character.
I just, in the process, I bumped Matt Hardy up to a higher score for charisma. I realized that. 10 for physique, 10 for entrance from Goldberg, 6 for backstage, 7 for public relations, 9 for popularity, credibility. I don't know. I think Goldberg's kind of staying the way that he is for the most part for me. I gave him a little bit of a bump, but I don't think it's that much.
I bumped up his charisma to a 9 from an 8, but that's it. He's staying at a 76 for me.
He's now 80 for Callum, right?
Yeah, I'll keep him at 8. Yeah, I'm not changing his things.
So for Matt Hardy, I got 7788666 577.
I'll run that quickly. I've got 7778777 778.
So you basically just have one more point for a couple of them.
Yeah. I have 78695766688.
I hope you're all paying attention because those are your winning letters.
I think that we kind of balance out because I've got 67, Callum's got 70, and Rob's got 73. So Callum's kind of between the two of us. So we're gonna round this out with a couple more because I'm running out of time here.
I mean, yeah, we've already talked about Foley and
we have given you
changed that one too much.
I think we've given people a great podcast.
I hope so. I hope you guys are enjoying this, and if you are, then let us know in the comments below. But well,
you round it out with Daniel Bryan because we definitely need to push your 75 upwards.
Well, before we do Daniel Bryan, very quickly, is there anything dramatically different when it comes to Shane? Because I got a 62, Callum's got a 68, Rob's got a 70.
I mean, to be fair, he's in a situation where his highest scores to me are his backstage and public relations.
Me too.
Which I have as an 8 and
9 and an 8.
Yeah, I have him at 8 and a 9. So yeah, it's like. So,
I gotta lower something here. What do you have, Matt, for charisma?
5.
The man jumps off a building.
7.
There. Like,
That's
I
why
don't really
that's
class
why he
him as
gets
charisma. I
a
classed
7 for athleticism.
I gave him a 7 because he's the weakest. Well, he's the second weakest of the McMahon family because Linda would probably have a 2 for charisma.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah.
but like he's still being like of the better side of the McMahon thing in terms of charisma. He's still fairly high because I would class like Vince and Stephanie as having like a 10 and a 9 for charisma.
Linda might get a 1 for charisma. She is
Yeah.
about as entertaining as watching Paige direct.
Yeah, but yeah, so I have him at a 7. I feel fine.
I have an 8, which will put my overall score for Shane down to a 68.
I'm gonna bump him up
See-
to a 5 on physique instead
Yeah,
of a
because
3.
he definitely looks better now,
Yeah.
or at least in his comeback, he looks like he's well defined and you can deal with the half of it where he was a bit more portly.
So let's round this out with Daniel Bryan here. I've got him from 2016 at a 75. So what has he improved on since then? His physique hasn't gotten any better.
Hold on. You had him at the end of his career, his first run at a 75?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right.
Well, he's got mostly everything he's got 1 6, 1 7, a whole bunch of 8s and 9s. But he had a 4 for physique. Because he doesn't have a great physique. Now, I probably should make that a 5.
I've got it as 6. I feel like he's gotten more defined recently, or at least in like the more recent. I feel like at his best, he's pretty small, which doesn't help. But I don't think he has. I think he has a better than average physique, but not much better.
I'm gonna give him a bump to a 9 on athleticism.
I've got him as a 10 for athleticism.
Yeah,
I've got a 10 for athleticism because I feel like he's got the most diverse ring moveset of pretty much everyone here besides Chris Jericho, really.
What do you have him at for psychology?
I just bumped him up to a 9.
9 thinks fair. I have him at a 9. You could easily give him a 10 as well, but I feel like 9 is fair.
I'm gonna give him a bump on charisma too, because I had him
He's
at a
so
6.
much better at promos now. He's so much better at promos
Yeah,
now.
so I'm giving him an 8 on that.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think I'm still gonna give him an 8 on character.
I have him as a 9, but I have a 9 because of the anti-environmentalist gimmick. Or not the anti-environmentalist, the environmentalist, mad environmentalist.
Yeah, pro-environmentalist.
Yeah.
That bumped him up to an 80
80
for me.
I got him
You
at
had him at 8
85.
beforehand, didn't you?
No, I had him at 75.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
I put his character to an 8. His physique, I give him a 7. It's not great, but it's also not bad. Entrance, I gave an 8 because while it's plain, it does have Flight of the Valkyries, which is always epic, and the fan interaction. Backstage, I gave him an 8. Public relations, I gave him a 10. The man is like one of the most genuinely great people to have on your team because of all the good that he does. Popularity, gave him a 9. And credibility, give him an 8.
I'm gonna give him a bump on PR too. That makes him to 81 for me. So he's gone up 6 points.
75
Yeah.
at least.
So
I've dropped him a couple of bits. I've dropped his credibility down to an 8 because I feel like it's not quite the 9 that I thought it would be, but 86 is fine for that.
He's got an 8 for credibility on me too.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's round this out the final way by going through our totals again, like we did at the beginning of this. So we'll see the comparison. I'll adjust it, and I'll have that for my records too. Shawn Michaels is an 85.
He's still an 85 for me.
I'm an 84.
So, I didn't keep track of what my original scores were for everybody because we did that at the time. But yeah, Foley to me is a 74.
83 still.
81.
So I'm gonna put an X down there. I might have to adjust that at some point when I have more time. Bob Holly to me is a 53.
54.
49.
And then I got RVD as a 60.
69.
69.
All right.
And 85 for Triple H.
89.
80.
Ultimate Warrior's got a 67.
63.
I got him at a 75.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Santino has a 62.
67.
I've moved him down to a 60.
I got a 52 for Steve Blackman.
The big 5-0.
I also have 52.
Roman Reigns, circa at least 2020 right now. I have him at a 78 instead of a 70 from 5 years ago.
I have
An
him at
80.
85.
Cam, you have an 80?
Yeah, 80, yeah.
I have a 74 for AJ Lee.
72.
72.
I have a 78 for Brock.
79.
84.
So you guys went down 1 point apiece there. 73 for Piper.
76.
79.
Yeah. The free gaps.
86 for Jericho, currently number 1. 88, 88.
89 now. Joint number
90.
1 for me.
Oh, wow. 81 for Daniel Bryan.
85.
And 86 for me.
So 86 and 85. I got a 46 for Bagwell.
47. Fuck Bagwell.
51.
64 for Shane.
68.
Same, 68.
I have a 67 for Ryback.
58.
60.
So that's a gap. That's the Ryback and the RVD gap. It's the opposite because you guys have 69
and they
I have
both wear
60,
singlets.
and you guys have 60s
It's
and
the
I have
Airbrush
67.
singlet.
Oh my god, how did that work out? That's weird. I have an 80 for Cody.
85.
84.
I've got, we didn't talk Shelton, but Shelton's got a 67 for me.
Yeah, 64.
Yeah, I'm at 70.
Del Rio's got a 60.
64.
59.
74 for Goldberg.
76.
80.
I got a 64 for Paige.
65.
67.
A 67 for Matt Hardy.
70.
72.
And an 80 for Edge.
84.
84 as well.
Okie dokie. Well, my average score is a 69.875. And your average scores are... Oh, that's not right. Somehow my formula on here says that Callum's average score is 133. So that's impossible. And Rob's would be 198. So let's see, average. All right, so Callum's average is 72.25 and Rob's is 72.375. So you guys on average are 2.5 points higher than me.
We're just more generous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might be because of the RVD and
Foley ones, yeah.
Foley ones. And I love Foley. I feel bad putting him up higher than those kind of things and stuff. So I might have to, even just from how big of a fan I am, I might have to give him another bump in some way.
He's taking too many bumps, Tony.
You know what?
Please don't do that.
Fuck it. I'm going to give him a 3 for athleticism, and I'm going to give him a 3 for physique just to feel a little bit better. There you go. He went up to a 76, and that bumps my average up to a 69.9. So, alrighty. Well, this went on way longer than I thought it was going to, and I am out of time. So I have to rush on this. I did all my plugs, I think. If not, check out all the stuff. You know it by now. Rob?
Yeah, you can follow me on at DudeFelice. Check out Fightful and WrestleZone for your news. Callum?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Wigmeister14. Check out all the articles on smarkatmoment.com.
Keep doing that, guys. Vote on the Smark Madness tournament. Check out all the other stuff. Follow, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. And stay tuned for everything else we're doing. Who knows what it's going to be, but if you do have everything subscribed to and you follow the Facebook and Twitter and all that, then you will be aware of when things happen, when they happen. So keep showing your support. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, and we will see you next time, everybody. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment. We're being counted out.